especially in the first two.
Yeah, adding Yampi's comments into the mix about the decider of Split as well. He's obviously feeling confident that that one would pop up. But it is Abyss now that we see, and as some of these agents start to get locked in, no real changes it's looking like on either side.
No, I think, as I said, Eternal Fire just have to stick to their route one, right? Like, what is the way they want to play Valorant? What is the way that they think they can win? For Vitality, yes, okay, you can argue this is their first tournament together. This is your time to gel, try new things. I don't think this is the point in the tournament where you try to do that.
Yeah, and for the side of Vitality, it makes sense going for the same composition. Again, for me, it's focused on towards the double duelist, hoping to do a lot of the heavy lifting, not only on towards the attack, but also on towards the defense, which they're starting on, being proactive. We saw how impactful the operator was in the matchup of GX Na'Vi yesterday. Maybe we can see the similar head-to-head possibly between Durka and Izzy and towards this one.
Yeah, differences this time as well. Of course, Anima is going to be joining the picture for Eternal Fire, and we're still left to hesitate, wondering what it is exactly that he locks in here. Do you just pick up the same role? Do you play the same 5 agents?
Surely it's got to be the KO. Lacking the flashes, wanting to make sure you have that online. So for the side of Vitality, obviously you have the Yoru, and yeah, we're going to see that locked in. There's going to be absolutely 0 changes for the agent composition for both teams coming in towards this.
Yeah, Vitality sticking to the veto here as well, seeing if they can find the value required to turn around that result against Eternal Fire. A semi-final spot on the line, a grudge match, a rematch to kick off our Phase 4 Final 4. The casters are ready. Joby and Affinity, take it away.
Thank you so much, and it is an absolute pleasure. What hype to build us into arguably one of the most anticipated matches, I think, of this phase, given that Phase 3 match, right? Talk me through. I know you've got notes. I know you've got thoughts. Lay it on me. Lay it on us.
Honestly, I mean, we're down to the final Turkish core team, and they are going to have to act like the final bosses if they want to upset Vitality. Again, this veto that the Desk broke down, Abyss, Bind, and Split. I mean, I'm surprised that you picked into Abyss, right? It's usually the team that won the first time that is down, because I'm sure Palin's they're going to be prepping them, correcting those mistakes from the get-go, right? And I think that's where we could get off to a rocky start, but I do think that this team, Eternal Fire, is explosive, right? 4 for 4 pistols yesterday, so that supports the idea that they can get off to the right start here on Abyss, and that is going to be everything.
Yeah, I think one of the big issues we saw was that Vitality, a lot of interaction, a lot of engagement taken without the support of utility, not something that can necessarily be fixed with, so short amount of time between games. But I'm hoping we see it a little bit cleaner. We saw incredible performances from Skyline and Sturban yesterday. So I think, as the desk said, the first 2 maps, they are incredibly primed for.
And honestly, I think the player that's impressed me a lot out of this lineup, and especially in that Vitality Eternal Fire first match, was Spear, almost dropping 30 kills on the Cypher. They've been so flexible for the squad as well. The Viper, the Gecko that we saw yesterday, and their awareness is what was at a peak for me. I mean, you dropped to 25 kills. Can you put up that same level of performance or not? And another player as well, Izzy, right? I said the one thing Olaf had to do was shut him down, and especially his operator, and they failed to do that. So I'm going to be looking towards, again, Chronicle here perhaps on that veto, with that teleport to do that. And I'm also going to be looking towards Durka as well.
Yeah, I think another thing that was briefly touched on is that Anna is playing instead of Brave. Brave was on that lineup. They've just gone 1-for-1 on substitutions. I think something that's important to say here is that, statistically speaking, in the cast department, in the ACS department, it was not a good game from Brave, right? And we'll admit, strong fighting words from Anima, not necessarily the individual performance to back it up, but the team performance to really support that statement, right? So I think that if they come into this and Anima's having a hot day, they've leveled up in the firepower department. That could be just another tally in their corner. Now, again, we can't rule out, Vitality's experience. That's something we've been talking about, is individually they've got so much to draw from. But the warning signs and the warning bells are already kind of ringing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Desk mentioned it as well, right? That bind pick, we got to see, I feel like, a different version of Eternal Fire. Like, again, steamrolling, and then that kind of wrestle back, that fake comeback as well from Ulf. And that's where, again, Spear kind of stepped up. That's, again, where you even saw Sturban, right? This insane anchor. You thought he'd be overwhelmed. He was not. But finally, the game is rolling. We're jumping into our first semifinals of the day. Vitality versus Eternal Fire, a rematch of Project Blender Phase 3. And this time around, they're flipped on sides.
That they are, Zobi, that they are. So maybe a little bit of something different. But again, the pistol round, we said Eternal Fire looking so spicy on them. And it's going to have to be the leg up if they give Vitality a way in. Suddenly, all of our theory crafting falls apart a little bit. It's a lot of noise being made, a lot of presence shown. No such engagements just yet. Yampi, Spear, on a little bit of a tussle. Warning shots fired off.
And this is, again, what we mentioned, Spear, the ever-present lurk that is going to be injecting themselves and opening up these opportunities for rotations. And see, again, Kron's going to be the one to handle it here a little bit more. Deep into B Link here, but the regroup, this is going to be an NB split, at least for the time being.
This fight is going to be huge from Spear. You win this out, you keep that flank position, and the rotates. They get cut off from the attention storm. There's another fight going on here. Sturban's got all eyes on him. Unfortunately falls, but it's done so much. Needs to be an activation on B using this timing. There's a dash on forward from Izzy. Again, further pushing back in towards this site, and they've still got to deal with that lurk in mid.
Yeah, it is high potential, but no action at the moment. It's all on the site itself. A bit disconnected. Sayonara gets overwhelmed, and it's all down to Chronicle.
Again, Spike goes down, still wandering, eyes everywhere, searching back. Anima needing to try distract here a little bit. Chronicle pushing on forward. Could be a little bit of a pain for them here. Spear finds the first pick. Skyline low HP swings on out, is taken down here. Anima though, lovely angle. Spear for the second. And Eternal Fire take another pistol. They remain flawless, and Vitality, we talked about the warning bells. The writing on the wall, yes, it's only one round in, but it's that little bit of worry that starts to creep and seep deeper and deeper.
It felt like we saw everything that we laid out come into fruition here. Spear opens up the round on alert. There's a nice exec. I did like this flank play a lot, actually, from Profik and Durka, but then they actually utilized the Abyss changes more than anything to tuck away, to set Anima up for this brilliant wrap, and his awareness that I have to drop down, they're not going to refract away, is what sealed the deal. So again, pistol on the board, Eternal Fire should just keep a rolling, and we're seeing a pretty strong B start once again, but there's a stack here. Again, I mentioned Kron usually doubles up with these duelists.
They do, and Izzy, the opening picks we said, and the fact that there's the second Ludicrous finally a shutdown, but Skyland immediately off the back. It's all come tumbling down.
And I love that it's Spear again on this mid lurk, but not alone this time either. Anima there to back him up, so you won't expect it if this fight from Yampi would have gone his way. So Spear just kind of cleaning up house here, and it's all down to Profik, who was on the other side of the map. This is the second round we've seen them again go for this proactive A main, clear super late to solidify the stack, and the rotation was correct. I'm curious to see if that'll continue later on, but it looks like Profik for the time being has chosen the Abyss over the Adventure that would have been a 1v4.
Yeah, I think sometimes you take your fate into your own hands. You know it's not winnable. You don't want to give them any further orbs. So decision to be made. That's 2 already. That's 1 away from the Astral Divide, and we're going into round 3. Nice to see that they're starting to look at this, because that was a really heavy hitting ultimate for them on the rounds that they were winning in that best of 1.
And I wish we saw a little bit more commitment from that play. I mean, I think they were going for the quiet walk down, but again, we're seeing these slower starts from Eternal Fire. So I maybe wanted to see more of like a flash and dash play. I know it's an eco, but you know, dump all your utility, all your eggs into that basket. But now, rifles in hand, a bonus for Eternal Fire to keep that kind of 4-0 start that they saw last time they faced it off against Vitality. And it's Durka off angle here. A little bit of a trap as well set by Sayonara here, likely with a gate crash as well to get away.
They know that the flank's likely to be coming on in. Izzy shut down. Lovely jump across from Sayonara, but ducking and weaving. Anima stays alive. Spear as well. Player advantage found once more. Chronicle, no spears there. Can't find the pick either. No one can take him down. And now Profek lining up to be the next on the chopping block. Swings out to the other side. Flicks across. Spear gets another. And there's nothing more to be found in this round. Another situation that we see. Just one player up against the world.
Durka, 1v3, what can you do? You picked up the slack on bind yesterday, and unfortunately this time you've been crunched between the ever-present lurks mid and the backstab from Sturban. And this round was, number 1, obviously, the bonus converted for Eternal Fire, but second, we already saw proactivity from Vitality in fixing some of the issues that they were seeing. Aside from this very unfortunate fight not going Sayonara's way, we saw this double scale down mid, right? They wanted to disrupt the B-Tech, they wanted to dislodge this lurk from Spear, but that is the stability, and that is why this man dropped 75, that'd be crazy, that'd be a record. 25 kills in the last best of 1. They are 7-1 right now. They're trying to break their 25 kills on this map.
75, is that even possible?
How many OTs would it take?
A
The world may
lot.
never know. But this is
more than we'll get.
this is what I wanted on the last eco.
Super aggressive, super pacey here, but it's being held for. Spear's got a lot to handle here. Spots the jump peak, spots the shot of the second, swings out. Spear's got 2, and that's more than he needs. Anima picks up the slack there. Chronicle, alive and kicking, is giving us something to believe in, but the sight falls, and that's the problem. Other player, other side of the map. This is done, this is dust, and this is a post plant.
He's one off from the evolution as well, and a reminder that gives you a little bit of regen here. So if he can get that 1 kill while on an off chance fight, this suddenly becomes a lot more feasible. Ampy, I think, gonna take the risk not to get a weapon upgrade either here. So it is gonna be pretty much easier bust for Eternal Fire. And I mean, Light Shield, you're the one swinging first. Chronicle is, I think, debating just saving this rifle, waiting for the overaggression, and Izzy takes the cautious approach instead, and it feels like we are repeating history instead of rewriting it here. 4-0, it may be a different starting side, but it is just as dominant. And I said it, I wanted Vitality to invest more on these eco rounds, and they tried to. But again, that stability from Spear, and also secondary, it feels like Spear has not been alone, if you noticed. It's like they predicted that Vitality was going to try and target and counter him. So there's always Anima there creeping up. It's that predictability maybe that's been mentioned in interviews over and over again with these VCL teams. And it is coming into fruition in the server. But this is your bounce back round, right? You have the op for Durka. You have 2 ultimates to work with. If you don't, I'm a little worried.
I mean, I'm wondering whether they keep the evolution maybe for the null command. I don't...
They already used it.
Oh yeah, sorry, it's already been popped.
I mean,
It blends in so well with the green. But here we go. Running on forward is going to be the person taking that mid control. Now, suddenly, they want no part of it. The dip on out. They've baited the attention away.
Might finally get to see the A-Ray clear, have a bang for their buck as well. The drone to set up Durka, and there it is. First blood finally in Vitality's favor.
And there's no immediate trade here. Sturban toying with the idea of it, but the longer you wait, the harder this gets. You know they're going to be prepared for you. Now the fight on towards A, they've clocked this. The door not broken. They're all just going to wait on the other side. Live and let live.
And I'm surprised to see Izzy join up here with Spear on this mid fight. And they're just trying to punish an overpeak. They need an opening here because you don't have that dive duels when they're on the operator instead. And it feels like Vitality has finally learned not to give them those opportunities aside from that A main fight, which again was supported, was careful, was cautious. At this point, 30 seconds left. They're running out of options.
Goes wrong, yeah. And here we go, Durka. Another pick comes on out. Converging paths. Izzy's found 1, but the issue is needs a little bit more, needs something pacey, needs to alleviate the pressure, but Yampy looks away at the wrong second, will be taken down. Actually, it's Durka that pays the price. Yampy with 2 gives them something. Spikes can get planted, but you're being crunched from both sides. Just about as a timing, not able to get the gun back out, chooses to place the stars instead. And alas, Vitality around on the board. It's a little later than you'd like to see if you're a fan of the team, but it is a round nonetheless. And that evolution maybe not being hugely impactful in and of itself, but the presence it had in mid finally deters Eternal Fire.
Honestly, Durka that round was the one that added the stability, I think, for that team. They had deep deposits almost everywhere, right, on the Eternal Fire side, and there was no overpeaking that was trying to punish. The time got constricted, and I talked about Izzy being restricted by the operator. He pulls out the blades to try and clutch the round back. There just wasn't enough time. And also, because they kept so many tabs on where Eternal Fire was, everyone was here immediately to not let the clutch master Sturban that we saw yesterday come alive in the server.
Sturban was otherworldly in the clutches. And so, yeah, you're right. Shut it down. Shut any opportunity of it down. Drop dots go out early, deters any instantaneous peaks. No such peak coming out from Eternal Fire. They're just going to sit on their hands for a round.
Has the op this time. A little bit of a switch up here. I'm not against it, especially again.
I mean, Kron's really good on it. So.
No, completely. I mean, he's been in the chamber on other maps, but this is the first time we're seeing this just directed A-pop. And again, Spear's not even lurking this time around, but Yampy gets shot through the Astra smoke.
Yeah, you lose that. You lose your jet early on. That all goes awry. Spear with the cage on out. The drone to clear through heaven as well. They've bought themselves so much base momentum. And look at this. They've cleared themselves an exit path and the wraparound if you want it. But it's being held for. You're right, Kron. The legend, the man,
when does he
the
peel
myth.
off?
But does it matter? That's the next big question on the tip of our tongues, right? Is that kill going to matter too much? They're sending somebody else to go deal with this. Kron, not even particularly phased, still looking at this. The round conceded.
Hunter's Fury, I mean, that's the final deal, right? You weren't able to get in anyways. And it felt like Kron was that secondary operator. Like, they had 2 online. They want to save one of these, right? So it was going to be a 4v4, a 4v, 3 retake. It felt like, as we saw Yampy fall, and yeah, this round was conceded before it felt like it even began by these two. When Skyland takes down Chronicle, we'll have to see what weapon Darka kept online here into the next, which looks like the operator, and it is going to be Pal stepping in, needing to take back control of this map, which reminder is Eternal Fire's pick, and we're seeing why I think they pick back into it. That confidence that we've seen in interviews still surging, still existing here. Vitality are countering things. It's just not making a substantial, impactful difference in changing the outcome of these rounds. And we just saw them completely 180 on the Eternal Fire side as well. Spear went from these lurks, like this kind of sneaky, ratty energy, to then kind of dueling into the side alongside Izzy, right? That aggressive K's, that aggressive jump up towards security. So again, I feel like that switch up is going to confuse Vitality a little bit as well, because now which flavor of Eternal Fire are you going to get in the server?
Exactly. And we said this was our kind of highlight point when we hopped on, was that you need to shut down Izzy. Need. Insane opening kill stats, right? And very limited on the first deaths. That's the important part, is the high risk, high reward, but you're not getting any return on investment from it. Izzy stays alive there, gets the spray down into heaven. That's the first domino, right? And then everything else after, it just topples in succession. You isolate the fights. Lovely hold from Chronicle, especially when you know that it's not likely to happen. Just to have that patience not to immediately back away is really good foresight. But
oh my gosh, I thought we were going to have like Kron and AZ duel over towards mid there. That would have been the perfect way to kind of get back at him for that last round, that rewrap after the A post plant. But instead, it's a very, very committed mid fight here. And Kron is there, so we might still get it. And we do, Izzy again. They lack the ability to shut him down.
there is no angle you can hold that this man will not hunt you down on. And this is the issue. Mid, suddenly, open for business, and they're so terrified to even have a look. You've got to now just peel back. It's too late in the round to directly have a look, get a line of sight on in. You have to play the extremities. The issue is 3 on one side, 1 on the other side. You have got 2 islands. Now they want to hit the B side. We've got the hindsight that this is stacked. Sayonara does find a kill to equalize it. Izzy unscopes at just the wrong second, but all of this information
in the space, right? They don't have to commit to this B crunch. They can go back towards A, which is what these two top mid are trying to achieve between Izzy, between Skyland. And you saw Durka realize, hey, they have an option. We need to get more information. They scale into B main, and now they know that this is going to be like A pit, right? So Yampy anchors, the rest are starting to rotate over, and it's going to hinge right on this fight and towards security.
Majorly so, but it goes all awry. Prophet, Yampy, 2 kills apiece, and you've got a flank here that may just be there in time to punish the moment they try and find anything. Hunter's Fury invested, stops, doesn't quite stop the spike going in. The well goes on down. And Durka hunting, having a look. Sturban's already out of town, but this is such an unfortunate angle to have to try fight into this. And it's Durka. 1 bullet, all that's needed.
I mean, he came all the way through A main, right? So your options are limited as to where Sturban is playing, right? At that rate, he was either Sacred or Heaven, and they narrowed it down 1 angle at a time. So again, they're keeping, I think, the clutch gene in check. You know, some genetic modification possibly coming through here on that player. But that is, I'm surprised that is a Thrifty just from the nature of how they played it. It was super, super impressive. And again, it really did hinge off of that A-Link fight. If they won that, they get a free A side. They have numbers or at least an even footing, but they lost 2 here from Prophet and Yampy with that insane coordination, and that's where things flipped and they realized, hey, it's maybe Nico, but let's invest this Hunter's Fury and get another round on the board. Following what Summer pointed out is their high timeout convert rate.
Exactly. You don't get much time, 2 minutes to spend with your coach. Tag off the back. That's going to be the signal for Kron just to take a beat over for a second, but it's not going to be pushed there. Drone comes out. No command to give them that ability, and the Hunter's Fury to buy them the room to work. Sayonara plucks Izzy from thin air. Durka ducking underneath all of this utility. Don't quite think they know how much immediate danger they're in.
They're going to go for the reflood here if they can just stay deposited in these spaces.
Durka's got a huge window here. There's the first. Trying to bait out Anima, try to lure him down, make this fight advantageous. It's not going to happen. Drop down. Oh. All the info you could ever want here, but the issue is you got to come out of this at some point. And I mean, playing on site here, Anima was between death and a horrible fate there.
I think Spear's just calling for the save, right? Cosmic Divide is up. You have no idea what lies beyond another world. And it is a flawless round there for Vitality. I mentioned, again, that Durka deposit in the quarter. That was the entire idea. Wait for the null command to dissipate and then go for the reflood there. I think Sayonara and those kills are just the cherries on top here, especially that insane shot against Izzy. I wanted to see his POV at this rate, and I'm surprised it's Disturbed as that player fighting forward here as well, right? They're usually that clutch player that's going, again, in the back lines, and instead they were fighting forward. So that's where I think Eternal Fire lost a little bit of their identity, a little bit of their post-plant procedure here, and that's where this is coming out.
Well,
I'd
argue it didn't get to post-plant procedure, because they used the null command and the Hunter's Fury to try to get onto site, but they never really fully cleared out, did they?
I mean,
like,
you know, most of the time
barely.
you don't clear around Bookshelf and fight into Link. That is a choice, right? Like Sturban getting here is, in my mind, the side is clear.
See, the thing is, I don't know, because I think Durka's position is something that should have been... I don't think it was necessarily.
I think it was a risk to clear it. Like, you don't have to. It's more who cleared it. I agree they needed to clear it, but Sturban should not be the one doing that. And that's where
No.
this timeout now comes in just a little bit. Again, trying to reframe things, figure out what happens if Izzy does fall in this entry. We've seen, again, sometimes Spear pick up that slack, but... And he fell as well. So, yeah. I have noticed as well, I think for Eternal Fire, right, after either close rounds or after, again, losing rounds, their idea is, again, to just go for these kind of death ball approaches. It feels like we had that on A, that one worked. We had it on B, this time it didn't work. And so we need, again, that little coach's creative influence to get them out of that funk, maybe, that's coming from, again, the consistent roster switches.
Yeah, now would be a really nice round to find something in to keep that lead, to keep your head above the water. It's Vitality very momentum heavy. When they get rolling, they don't stop. Sayonara taking a little bit of damage, decides to just leave it be, head back over towards site. Now Durka, huge push here, but right into the lion's den, gonna teleport away. The refract gives all the information necessary. Spike now, I'm assuming, might choose to head elsewhere, especially if this fight over towards A main is fruitful.
And Prophet, again, has always been searching here. Opshot very rarely misses there for Izzy, and I like this. You're not giving the fights to Izzy. That's what the mistakes have been in the past competitors versus Eternal Fire. They just get the confirmation, and they get out much like Durka did off of that refract and light speed. And now he's reprimed on the ankle here, and we're kind of shaping up for a refight and a potential B split. And to me, then it's going to hinge again on the support that Prophet's able to provide to Chronicle, and if Durka can solo hold B main.
Oh, lovely pick onto Izzy. Still got a problem in mid though, and Spear's got no backup, has to roll solo. It's a messy spray, Prophet finds it, and one after the other. Eternal Fire find themselves spectating the round. Chronicle not quite able to connect the shot, but lovely position from Yampi. Has to reload, and it's a small mercy, but immediately the re-peek out, the re-swing. Just needed a couple more in the chamber to get it done.
Yeah, and it's like we checked every single box there and what could go right for Vitality, especially on that mid fight. I didn't even expect Yampi to then take the initiative to be like, okay, this is the first time we've had this mid space. We've successfully shut them down. Taking it, let's flip that into that flank advantage, that final backstab, so no heroic plays could slip through. And this was the big question again. Were Durka, were Kron going to be able to step up to fill that void, to shut down the heroics of players like Spear and like Izzy? And the answer the last few rounds in flawless fashion have been yes.
Now the economies are starting to play a little bit of a factor. I'm a bit worried about this, and so much in the bank with Vitality off the back of this. I want to say comeback. It wasn't a huge
How many
deficit.
rounds have they had double up at this point?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
We're desensitized. Oh, Spear. Nice little flick there. Lovely fight to win on out. Gives you the space. Immediately regroup with the team. Sayonara finds revenge onto Sturban, but they've already started to lose this ground a little bit towards side.
Oh, Sayonara, I think, has been super impressive on the off. A sleeper agent here. Another steadfast way to anchor, to bolster the defense here. And in the meantime, off that main kill, look at all the space Yampi has taken. That's why this stack is here. Look at the double back. That kill would have opened up the entire A side of the map if Spear had their gun out. Now, KO. Anima, difficult decision to make, and it'll be pretty much made for him as Skyland falls here. What did we just watch?
past each other. Really ships in the night this time. And the issue is, I think they know, they just don't quite know where. Durka caught off guard, does find one. Sayonara's not willing to change position. There's a gun pick on up. Now there's issues. They've got no current information on this position, and all the attention's here. I would have thought maybe you want to head elsewhere, but Prophet fighting Skyland. This now falls flat on its face because you've got to retake all of this space. You've lost everything that you had to work with.
Yeah, that was a difficult kind of 50-50 gamble there for Skyland, right? And they were so worried about Anima, that's why they didn't budge on their positions, and now he's left with 15 seconds and a 1v3.
Flash over the top. Oh, just missed. Caught with util in hand. Vitality closing up the gap. 5-5 on the scoreboard as we start to close out this half.
Wow. And I think it's prediction time. Are we feeling a 6-6 or 7-5 towards the side?
Right. I'm putting a ban on being asked any questions about what I'm predicting right now.
But I want
because
you to
I'm
curse it. I mean, if you think about it, right? It was a 7-5 favoring Eternal Fire. And we're getting that similar development, right? Where it is, again, this comeback from Vitality to kind of get us near a tie. And then it's this pull ahead back from Eternal Fire. So I'm curious to see if that's going to happen, especially because the timeout didn't change much on the Eternal Fire side. And now we do have some changes. Look, Sova's on the B side this time, setting up Durka instead of Sayonara on A main with the op.
Ooh, getting aggressive. Sayonara not going to be awarded the pick, but Durka will. Sturman falls, and now immediately they know that there's no follow-up coming here. Spike alone on Skyland is a little bit of an issue if Skyland loses this fight, even with the rotates coming on through. But there it is. There's the equalizing pick, but it's so far removed from the site that they've still got a whole job to do here.
Durka. No refractor left in the back pocket here, looking to recharge it with a kill aggressively here, but it was all in, and Skyland unfortunately not able to refight it because he is low HP. It's just the drone to see if there's any extra layer of support, and they didn't even see Chronicle, and he is the extra line of support here.
Yeah, and maybe a sixth sense telling them something's wrong, something's amiss. They've got this mid control, they've got this mid presence.
And the chokehold is what's going to kind of set off the motion, the rotation, I'd assume, from Chronicle. Instead, he's going to be caught out in spawn when or if this goes off here. I think they wanted a little bit of a deeper A call here. They're not wrong just yet either. It's going to really, I think, hinge off of Skyland and what he can achieve B main up against Durka with this free dart. Or Durka just knows it's an entire fake now.
Durka's just no idea that he's even pushed up that far, right? But immediately the pivot, they're going to wrap onto that B site. Anima really leading the charge here. They need to deal with Durka, and they know he's somewhere. There's the pick that they need. Need to get on the plant. They've got so much space and time to do this. The issue is going to be setting up the post plant. They've immediately sent somebody out, but Sayonara dropping on down. Izzy doesn't want to get too proactive, knows there's danger.
Needed a gun change as well. The Vandal over the opportune moment. Izzy trying to, again, get an opportunity timing-wise.
Spears got the first, and there it is, the jump on out. Izzy's adjust. Chronicle's got one, immediately switches weapons. Low HP here on Izzy, but location known, number taken. Phone in the Undertaker.
I'm just saying, I predicted another 7-5 for Eternal Fire, so we'll see if it's that. Do you want to go to the 6-6 and handshake on it? And that's
no, I'm not doing predictions. I'm not doing predictions.
All right, it's fine. But I will say, this round was super, super interesting. Again, I think Chronicle, and I want to know, like, this is when you want to be a fly on the wall on the server. Like, what proc did the call from Yempi to have Chronicle rotate away? To have 3A and just all the trust in Durka there onto the B side, because it was so fragile. We saw that, right? They disrespect the chokehold, they flip through B-Link, and suddenly they're entirely behind Durka, and he has nowhere to go.
Yeah, I think Durka's been such a staple. Maybe an over-dependence given how much he's already done on this map. Evolution comes on out. I don't even be necessary because Sayonara again in mid. They've just completely forsaken this portion of the map now.
Yeah, Spear has been shut down every single time the last few rounds. Anima there, we mentioned, was the one to pick up the slack. He's not even giving light of day, but I was going to mention the B-hole was a little bit lighter off rip, right? There was nobody there. Now it was the reposition from Sayonara off the gate crash and Chronicle here with the evolution that has to solo anchor once again.
White Wing goes out. Sturban's going to find a huge one to find Chronicle taken out. Durka pushing on forward, but now they've got a tenuous grasp of this map.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, they didn't see, right, Prophet there either. But I like this decision from Izzy to peel off. I think they're going to fight instead off the Cosmic Divide to flip the map, to fight into Link. That's why it's so deep towards heaven. And it's only Yampi here, so this is perfect. And it avoids the entire converging paths.
Perfect. So well played here. Izzy not quite able to connect with the Blade Storm back on out. Skyland Holding the line here, round the corner, dances, jumps for one. Ooh, almost finds Durka there, but the refract saving the life. Unscopes the wrong second, missed shot. Jumping on in backside, they've heard it, they know it's happening. Caught on the jump on up, but Izzy scopes in time. It's 7-5. History is repeating itself, and anyone feeling a slight sense of deja vu here.
You may be a curse, but I am a prophet, and so are the history books, apparently, at this raid. And honestly, again, it was that decision to fight into Link that secured the round for them. I am so impressed by the use of the just Blade Storm from Izzy. We saw it earlier in this half, then when he got shut down, we didn't see it for a while, and it comes out in spades here of 4K. And I like they also did have Skyland for assistance, but they were kept on reserve just in case, because they know time was ticking down. They needed that win condition, but again, breaking that momentum was everything against Vitality.
We talked about how they switched sides on starting here, and it was a really bountiful defense side for Eternal Fire. The pistol rounds have been good, and that would just be the cherry on top of this painful Sunday where Vitality's watching it happen again.
That's tomorrow.
It's low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit. I appreciate a good pun. You know what? I'll let you have that one, actually.
Okay.
Whether Vitality let them have the pistol round, that's the real problem that we have on hand. And all eyes on mid.
It's met, right? 3 for 3 here. A very different approach versus kind of the detached hold and fight from Vitality we saw in their defense here. This is full-out commitment. They understand that this is the key to Abyss, and they are going to lock and slam the door. A trade found, and they've wrestled back the numbers as well.
It would have been a nice idea if they'd kept the numbers advantage, but Animo really puts the spanner in the works there. Issue is Yampi's already so far pushed up.
Look at Durka.
Recon Dart is going to scan them as well. They didn't quite find it in time. That's information. Chronicle getting ready to go, but Spear is going to shut down the rest of the team. Shock Dart goes in, but it's, you know, precious little. Now they're holding on for dear life. The issue is they've got to flood out of here.
Are they going to clear Durka? This is an aggressive angle here, especially under that lip.
Yeah. Sturman's got to really be the one to do it. Spear drops down, draws the attention, the flick on over, but it is dealt with. It is 2 kills coming on through. Time starting to tick, and Chronicle's making it happen. Does he know how close danger is? Tap on the spike, but Anima has got it. Defuse going to come on through. Another pistol. They seem infallible.
Oh my goodness. And honestly, I was like teetering between them, like, should they be swinging that? Oh my god, they swung that. Oh my god, they won that. And Spear was one of those players as well, right? It's a 4v3 on the retake. If you wait, you have numbers. He takes that risk and wins it out anyways.
And the right-click classics have been something
that is
else.
Crazy. And even this, right? There was a little bit of a little slip up there in the comms to clear out and double swing Durka there after Spear whiffs, but then we still get Sturban winning it. And I'm surprised that this shot aligned as well. Chronicle just taking a bit too much damage while trying to shoulder the burden. And now, like I mentioned, I was gonna say no potential for a 7-5, but look at the Stinger Force. Finally, disrespect being shown by Vitality.
You need to do something. You've got to pull something out there, Chronicle. Going to allow presence to be shown in mid. And that is going to not even be pounced on. I think Eternal Fire, they're just going to let them filter into them. They've got a lovely hold here.
Whoa!
Utility comes on out. Isn't an instant kill. They go 1-for-1 flash to go over. Looking for a peek. Spike's been spotted down. Desperately spraying Anima. Still got some health, but that's all they needed was low enough for Chronicle to get the job done. Spike can go down. Pathing in towards the site's going to be uncomfortable now. They've got no idea what's going on in main.
I love it. Cloudburst to get past the chokehold. Spear kind of trying to re-clear vent here with the Bulldog. It's difficult in the close proximity. The Stinger thrives, and we are down to a 2v. I was gonna say 4, but it's all down to Izzy on the flank. And it seems like Durka realized that it is a possibility here with Jet as the remaining one.
Lovely shot there, but just too much of a toss to ask. There's a wrap coming on through. Chronicle swings from the left, and that is them stealing away the conversion. Really important one to win there. You let that slip any further, then we're getting to really uncomfortable territory. And Vitality, a team that's pretty notorious for when they go and buy into these second rounds, that they are lethal.
Yeah, and again, this was a 13-11 last time these two teams met on Abyss, and it was that bounce back for Vitality because they won the pistol round, right? And so they realized, again, they needed that in from the momentum change at the side stop, so that's why I think the force comes out. And now, again, with money not on the side of Eternal Fire here, we're expecting to see another for Vitality, and they'll only be trailing by 1 when we get to the meat of the sandwich, the rifle round. Unless, Izzy, full shield Vandal, hero rifle in hand, and solo diving into B? What can he find? Or will Kron just say, nope, I'm on an off angle?
I have a feeling Izzy's going to have to find something. Oh, looks
No!
away, but still manages to look back in time to get the job done. And that's unfortunate. That was really what we were looking for if they were going to pull something out of the bag here.
Yeah, I didn't see a gameplay anywhere else on the map. I'm not gonna lie,
I'll be honest,
right?
I still don't.
It was Anima to set up Izzy for that one-man show, and now they're like, okay, let's leave one of our info initiators over towards B to figure out if they are coming here late to set us up for a little bit earlier rotate, but the stack is towards A. So it did take a minute in the mid-round, but now we have a plan on the board for Eternal Fire, and we'll just see if they hit those lucky shots with these worse weapons, or, and as we're seeing now, Vitality have made the correct decision. Go towards the more deserted site here with only Anima home.
Anima and his classic against the worlds and the might of a team that looks so favored coming into this. Yampi, lovely shot, but they're not even going to finish up. They've got the time if they want to move, and it looks like they do. A complete switch up. Now, Total Fire decision to make. No, there we go. Decision to make, and it's been...
Man,
I think they knew. They clocked it.
I feel like I should have, instead of saying like 3 falling off unintentional on Abyss, said like 10 or like 15 purposely falling off of Abyss.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been a better one at this rate in this calendar. I think we're at what, like 9, 10 probably about now throughout all the quarters and semis. But again, maybe some questionable individual fighting in this eco, but it did really kind of fall flat when Chronicle just steals away the upgrade, the 1 hero rifle. So we, as mentioned, as predicted, as expected, are 1 around separating these two. And this is where, again, you're going to be looking towards Eternal Fire and their ability to stabilize, or will Vitality finally tie us off this evolution that Chronicle has invested off RIP?
And its offensive capabilities seem unmatched. Over towards A, having a bit of a poke and a prod. Izzy's aware of this, can see all of the utility. Chronicle, completely unaffected by everything going on right now, is going to be left just to hold this. And I like that there's been no face shown. I like that Eternal Fire is starving them of information.
Yeah. And again, this isn't a team that's very aggressive either, aside from Izzy. And I feel like he's reined that in a little bit too, I would argue, in this defensive half so far. And maybe that's to their detriment here, right? Now, as they piece things apart, I was going to say, Chronicle finds the opener. I mentioned Izzy being that aggressive player. A valid one outside of B main, so that wrestles things back, but ever so slightly, because they're challenging the weak side once again. And it's all down to Izzy.
Yeah, I say it's all down to Izzy, but I have a feeling that it's only going to be a matter of time. Maybe goes and tries to find something here. We haven't seen an immediate, I'm a head out, sort of jump off the map, so...
He has a gun. You can save it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's going to be the issue, right, is if you're so worried, and this is a team that's kind of been hunting for these kills.
True. They want to ensure that you can't claw yourself out of the grave. That tying us up at 8-8 might start to dig. And I mean, it's just Durka kind of searching at this point, right? They're just playing safe positions to ensure no Ninja Diffuse action is going to occur.
Yeah, they've been really good to cover their timings here. There was like maybe a little bit of a window, but Eternal Fire, suddenly gaps closed, but when we saw that timeout. True. I would expect a timeout, but the thing is, we saw their game, the best of 1B, very back and forth. There was a lot of times the scoreboard was tied. I think that it's really good that Vitality are keeping this humble, right? That they've got themselves an opportunity to finally put themselves in the driver's seat this round, with being, you know, not much of a buy to defend here.
I mean, neither team got 3 in a row on the second half of Abyss that first time around. And that's the issue, is Vitality has now broken that. They've gotten 3 in a row. And it's going to likely be a 4th here as well, since Eternal Fire have this broken by. And Durka is targeting it with sniper rifle purchase.
And they've realized that A site is vulnerable at the best of times.
Oh, I like this position. But also, I think they're realizing how aggressive Izzy is around B main, and they are prepared for it, much like Chronicle was last time around window. This time they flipped the script, but the trade is at least good. We'll argue later if that was a fair trade run for Izzy, but a 4-on-4 for now. And I feel like we were kind of priming for an A follow-through, but they thought better of it, it feels like there was something going wrong that they didn't like. Like if Izzy's fighting B main, if they fought down mid, something like the Cypher, like Spear is lurking there, and this is gonna be a huge challenge for Durka and Cyanor, that double duelist duo that we were mentioning. Let's see. The rookie and the veteran can do it.
The setup's available. Smoke goes on out, but unfortunately Spear completely cut on out here. No way, and it's all relying on Sturban. Sturban falls instantly, and Spear's found not long after. And there's A sites toppled once more. Durka takes down Skyland, salt in the wounds, and now Anima.
You may be looking at the void for Anima here. I don't think there's many weapons easily salvaged.
No. And look at this position from Durka is going to
Don't give it to Durka! He has one off the converging paths! He's gonna give it to Durka! And suddenly now, it feels like Vitality are in full force and momentum to possibly push this to a double digits. And I'm not a fan of, I think, blowing both timeouts before, like, the overtime or the close out of the map potential. But I think, honestly, like, this round, to me, feels like it is do or die for Eternal Fire, or like you're just not gonna be able to catch up in time with those like accounted for human errors and mistakes that may come in a round or two on your way to recovery. And I mean, yeah, I said that we were gonna test their A exec, and we saw it, and it passes with flying colors. That's that round.
I mean, their A execs have been looking really good. I don't know whether it's their A execs have been looking really good, or Eternal Fire's hold has been looking a little bit. Yeah,
that wasn't on them in my mind. And it's a double dive duelist.
No, again,
right?
but
some
of the previous rounds in this half, we've seen the A side look a little shaky, a
They
little
haven't
wobbly.
gone A a lot. I mean, the mid, I feel like if it's mid through vent, that's hard to frame with a stinger force.
Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, again, they started out A again. I think they wanted to frame it like, oh, we're repeating this exec, right? But it does not feel like Eternal Fire fell for it, right? Even if that early 0 point pinged a lot of Vitality players. Izzy up, somehow repurchased here. Could flip the map finally with the first blood back in ES favor.
Lovely smoke just to stop anybody. Drone clears on out.
Oh, nice.
Hindered is a huge problem. Needs to call over Skyland just to be the bodyguard. Recovered in time to find the pick anyway. Double clappers coming on through just to buy that safety net. Chronicle, nobody's peeking you there.
I've never seen a defensive interceptor utilized like that to prevent a reswing, a reflash, a refight. I really like that anti-flash maneuver, but yeah, you're right. No biting coming out from Eternal Fire there in that fight. Instead, it's just the silent regroup. And because of that deposit from Sayonara, I think they are going to follow through on the A split, and EF is framed perfectly for it.
Here we go, Sturban with one immediately, spots ahead, doesn't want to overcommit to this, has Izzy watching the angle, and Anima tucked on in as well. 13 seconds on the clock, all they got to do is whittle that down. Lovely swing out from Yampi, but as that smoke fades, finds another one. It's Web, the missed shot, and then Profek to find the kill, even with the Blade Storm coming on out. The spike goes down, and now they've got no information on the map. Post plant's established. There's the smoke to cover it, which is going to be a little bit of a problem. How are they planning to get through that once it pops? Spear wants to take the fight, but you give this away now. There it is. Turns to take away the recon bolt, finds it, and Spear saves the day from what could have been complete embarrassment.
I was shaking that round. You said it, you're like, I'm not liking their A-holds. And then they perfectly change up the idea to counter this great mid-split attempt out of Vitality there. And then somehow Yampi, who, reminder, when they're kind of struggling like we saw even on their start in that KC match, they're finding these haymakers, these round-winning kills. He flips the site back, opens it up with 15 seconds left, and then Spear, who's been getting first blooded or shut down anchoring, like you mentioned, A, is alive to clutch out one of the most important rounds as we framed it. But yeah, that moment I will say, Prophet, you deserve your flowers. That was a stellar shot. And I even linked the anti-novables. They're expecting them to piece apart that crossfire, but again, disrespect shown by Eternal Fire. They ties up 9-9, and we run it back with the ult this time.
We do. Astral Divide comes on through. Anima very wary. There's the null command taken out. Izzy with two instantly. Anima flash around the corner for Skyland to peek. And even though Anima's down, he's not done providing help to this team. I mean,
hey, you gonna save your friend, guys?
they gotta make sure it's safe, but you're right.
It's just Kron, guys. Come on, don't let him die like this. Thank you, Skyland. And wow, what a momentum shift after we mentioned. Maybe I'm also a curse. I just was like, oh, Vitality finally won this many in a row, and suddenly,
oh, this is the issue.
Not basically.
Sturban, I love this. Well, I mean, I did love that. I love the idea of trying to take the fight, right?
They know now that they're saving the ops, so now the hunting dogs are out. And I do like the farming coming out from Chronicle, but no spike, no hope. And the spy cam has just confirmed where the lurker is swimming.
You've got no reason not to. You've got enough players that you can cover literally every avenue. And there's no way that there's a timing, right? Every corridor, every entrance that could be taken. Chronicle, I think might just be ducking under it. Lovely attempt for the flick, but alas, lovely attempt is not quite good enough. And Spear to close on out again in the lead for Eternal Fire.
I really thought we were going to get another Izzy to Chronicle head-to-head with the operators in like the most weird position possible, but mentioned right on the cusp of destruction, taking a timeout here, and Val stepping back in, and they converted the last one off of an eco round. Now they have a bye this time, and we'll get to see what it looks like. Remember, last time out, it was essentially that really, I think it was like kind of like a mid-split action that I remember. So that was after the eco. But yeah, no, what did they change last time? I mean, they obviously flipped sides. Not too much to work with in that regard. But what do you change here? Because it feels like, okay, these more big brain split plays are no longer working. It's again, players like Spear warming back up.
I think you need to change the pace again, right? Is Eternal Fire's realized, wait, we don't have to do anything until the spike goes down, right? The win condition is solely on Vitality until the spike goes down.
Can they go back towards B? I feel like they've been too passive on B main. I'm not gonna lie. Which is interesting because on the defense, right, they were consistently challenging every iota of space that, like, Eternal Fire was not in, right? You saw Yampy walking down, you saw Durka walking down, you even saw Profek at times clearing out space. And here it's been this passive hold to see if, okay, is he going to clear us like we're seeing now from Profek? And I haven't liked that. Now, if you couple it with like a really fast mid fight, like you mentioned,
like
speeding
was
things
so
up,
good on the early
exactly,
fight.
right? With the light speed, with the gate crash, I think that could be a way to flip through being much like Eternal Fire did in their attack half, and that's kind of what they're framing us for here, actually.
I like that they've decided they've had a little bit of a switch up. Skyland's the only real presence they have in mid, but Sayonara, what a swing. And now that sort of closes up a lot of options. They're having to rotate over pretty quickly because their opportunity for retakes and rotates coming in already starting to be squandered before it even begins.
Ooh. And here it is, Hunter's Fury to set up the exec, to set up this split attempt. Sayonara and Durka this time split up to their own adventures with the same goal, converging, opening up the site. The site for Yuto, the kill trip from Spear is good, and this time he simultaneously held the site and got enough to play retake, but Chronicle has shut that Chronicle a little bit short. Anima though, 3 frags gets back to a 3-on-3, and now we look towards the Cosmic Divide and the converging paths, and they may overlap here in the late round.
Issue's going to be with that smoke coming on out. They have very limited options. Converging Paths invested, not going to find anybody though. Smoke goes down, Yampy needs to go huge here, finds the first. Flash immediately, Anima's not going to be able to trade. 0 Point comes on out. It's going to find 2, but what are you even going to be able to do off the back of that? They've still got their guns, and Durka's got a lovely angle just to keep you trapped. Save the op, now that's all you can do.
And again, we know this team, we've seen it, right? Eternal Fire is not afraid to push it towards overtime, push it towards the end, the brink, because it was a 13-11 last time. But this round's interesting to me. I feel like we haven't seen big bang for the buck off these converging paths, because it feels like Eternal Fire is always recognizing it and playing away from it. I don't think I've seen one like caught by it yet, right? Last half, this half. And I'm surprised that they were able to flip and realize no one here is security. We need to fight more towards heaven that fast. And I really thought that they were going to use that to speed up, right? You expect them to be refighting backside, so you should push out of vent here, and you'll see, right? That doesn't happen in this late round. I think that's where Eternal Fire made that mistake here is, yeah, I wish that came a little bit faster. I wish it was a little bit more together, not self-flashing yourself. And again, that small mistake cost them here.
Cost them dearly, yeah. Now, here we go. 10-10, double digits all round. Sayonara flash on out. Just to make sure no one's going to swing early. Nobody on Eternal Fire has any such intention. Mid, though, again, they've been really laissez-faire with just having any presence here.
That's crazy because they 3-stacked it on the pistol, right? But
yeah,
it was more like concealed presence in mid, right? You see the double vent, and you see the one tucked away in A-Link, which is Anima, right? Gonna wait for that recycling of utility. I like the heavier vent presence, though, because if you've noticed, every time they've gone A, they've had at least one player there for Vitality, if not the entire team rolling up with Stingers, right? And I think this is a good, again, round-around adaptation for Eternal Fire, and we'll see if it helps win them this round, because Again, Vitality have been taking it very slow. Less than a minute left already. Finally coming up with a plan for action. And I don't want Eternal Fire to leave, and they're changing the plan. They're rotating away. Spear is now alone with the drone re-clear into mid. Is this going to spot them out? Or are they tucked away safely? Looks like the latter here.
Yeah, I don't think anything was seen, and that's a real problem. Sayonara immediately dimension drift in towards the back of mid. He's going to find himself stuck between a rock and a hard place, but we'll have all of the information of what's going on site.
Didn't see Izzy.
He didn't know, and that's going to be a bit of a problem. Sturban hiding in the smoke there, gets one, immediately finds the second. Spike goes down. Prophet finds a consolation prize. With 13 seconds, that's the dagger of leaving it so last minute. Yes, it's explosive. Izzy's going to get wrapped, though. There's a little bit of an opportunity, but no, the spin around. He's so good. Durka just trying to hold on, but there it is. Skylan doesn't even want to let the timer run out, just wants to deal the finishing blow.
I mean, there wouldn't have been time because Izzy was tucked away, but Durka should have hit that shot onto Skyland. That is an insane flick. I need to see it in the replay. But yeah, Sturban, the site anchor, finally comes back. We were, I feel like, a little lackluster in that department compared to the previous Eternal Fire showings. And yeah, it again was, I think, the dimensional drift not pinpointing Izzy. And again, in these mid rounds, while they're re-stabilizing, Eternal Fire got burned for it too. Coming up with a plan for action a little bit too late, and then they don't have time to act upon it. And much like last time these two teams met, Eternal Fire stay elusive, stay ahead here. Getting to 11, Izzy, gonna say, first time he's played so aggressive A main.
Yeah, I like the switch up. You know, you've conditioned them a little bit that it's been coming down to the wire, that you've not been given anything, right? I love this peek on out. Sturban with the first and the second. Has backup, but doesn't even need it. And there's only 2 players left. Yeah, they've got a bit of space and towards mid. Drone isn't going to spot anything out, but again, it's precious little compared to what they've already lost.
I don't know how I feel about Yampy going for this deep of a commitment. Because number one, if you lose your life because there's a double stack, it puts Prophet in a 1v5. But it was more realistically, they're disconnected because no matter what, Prophet was going to have to go back for the spike. And Prophet, I think, is just calling for the save because this round, right, you lost it. You're going to be broke. It's going to be map point for Eternal Fire on their pick. Repeating history again and trying to dispel the haters that it's the best of one. It was a fluke. But that is the luxury here, right, is that Vitality's not out for losing this map. They still have their pick, they still have split, and they are undefeated on bind, so...
Yeah, Eternal Fire's bind, though. That's a conversation for later, because, I mean, it's not looking likely, but we can't entirely count this team out. We've seen some of their thrifty rounds, and I'm a little bit of a one for Copium. I enjoy a little bit of Copium.
They're out
on
of
a
timeouts,
Saturday
though.
midday.
If PAL still had the timeout and ripped it right after this round, I'd be a believer.
Perfect. Oh, spots a gun
Go
barrel.
for the knife.
Spotted. No. Swing out. Oh, almost found Sturban there as well. This is just a matter of getting dogpiled on all sides. It's just who finds the kill. You could throw a dart at the dartboard. Prophet lives to fight for one more frag, but there's Sturban finding the 4K, and we bring ourselves up to map point. But this is where we saw the match in the best of one, right? We saw the match be 12-10, and then it went 12-11. It was a 13-11 at the end. But you're right. It's not the world's best buy. You're not putting it on a mug.
No, absolutely. And looking back again, Prophet did a good job trying to survive, and just did not work out. And I think that's, again, that tempo change we mentioned. Eternal Fire had that, like, on a dime flip-up in the tag cap, and they just did it on the defense. Or, sorry, 2, yeah. And now, I mean, turning up the heat here. A fake exec onto the stacked site for Eternal Fire. Instead, they're really pressuring mid, and honestly, I think they peeled off too fast, right? Eternal Fire didn't fall for it.
They didn't, not at all. And now look at this rotate on into mid. Izzy, Sayonara up close could put a little bit of a problem into the mix here. Finds one that forces them to back away. It's 1 kill for free, a lot of damage done, but there it is. Anima with 1 more.
And now I can't tell, was that the idea, was to try and, like, fake B to set up a mid trap from Vitality, or was that like a backpedaling, like, again, in the moment reaction?
Yeah.
I don't know. They got some big brains over there in the Vitality backlines of support, but now Sturban again is in the hot seat.
An absolute
He's not gonna get cleared.
killer on this map.
I wish he didn't stun it or flash it, low-key. I think Durka would have walked out and not cleared him.
I think maybe, but again, they forced the rotate, they forced the plan. The issue is going to be that this site's looking a little bit weak. Izzy needs to find this pick.
Oh.
Missed shot. That is the window.
There's 30
of
seconds,
hope.
they're going back A. And because Izzy fell, they're rotating off too early. They're going to walk into an uncontested site and have a post plant with numbers advantage. And Chronicle's going to try and widen that numbers here with the B wrap.
Could very much do so. And we said you cannot count this Vitality team out ever.
Wow.
Do not count them dead until they are in the ground. And this is why Chronicle still causing the problems. They've realized the plan, but look at this position in Vents.
That's my problem. Is, well, as we watch Sturban and... Well, we can't count Eternal Fire out. It's still a 2v3, right? Spike just went down. They got time.
You got time, and they've still technically got the weapons advantage. But Anima here needs something amazing in Yampi. We talked about fragging IGLs. The term was floated yesterday, and I mean, Sturban taps it, immediately baits the peek on out, but there it is. Profek knows and has the confidence in his abilities, and that is why. And we find ourselves on the precipice once again. This is where we were in the best of one round away from overtime or Eternal Fire doubling down on this Abyss victory.
And this mid trap was nice. I will give that to Vitality, but I'm sorry, but in the late round, it felt like it was more this round was gifted by Eternal Fire for making a mistake than it was for Vitality having a good call, right? Like we saw these two players leave A, right? When in reality, there was like 15, 20 seconds left. It was a similar position that Vitality has found themselves in before, and Eternal Fire shut them out of the site at the last second, right? That was the only way to get out of that. And as a result, this is what we mentioned, we're staring down either history repeated or new territory in overtime.
Comes on out, not going to spot anything at all, but it's a bit of a misnomer because Izzy's already crept under their skin. There's the opening pick. Profek, just a little bit of covering fire. Maybe you get lucky, and Lady Luck is definitely going to need to be on your side here. Skyland has a look, that's 2 in mid. So much information to draw on.
Oh, we mentioned who can eco who, and it looks like Eternal Fire kicked things off quite well. Neural Theft out, the kill found by Anima, and that Sheriff as well. They know these players are splintered, and I'm expecting maybe a regroup and a refight here from Sturban and Anima.
No problem. No eyes on mid, and Vitality is going to know this. A little bit of room to push further, to cut up in the map, but with so little resource at your fingertips.
Sayonara donning the hero's cape here, leading this mid charge. Again, it's this brevity, this pause that has cost them in the nick of time, and with 30 seconds left, this will decide
30 seconds
overtime or not. The group up, the flip, and Kron having to win this main fight, but the presence has been known even if you destroyed the 0 point, and it's just a matter of if they can get there in time.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge issue, and you could already tell the rotate's being drawn over a little bit. Chronicle not going to be given the fight. Sayonara needs to go huge. 10 seconds. Flash goes out. Sturban's got one. Immediately holding there for Chronicle. 5 seconds. It has to go down now, and Sturban knows this. And there it is. How the mighty fall. Eternal Fire's only gone and done it again.
They repeat the 13-11 victory, and that's exactly...
Going to be heading to Agent Select here to see what it is that both Eternal Fire and Vitality want. The comments in the pre-match as well suggesting that both Anima and Brave feeling confident that Eternal Fire have already backed this up with a result. Anything standing out at all here?
I think it's the exact same, isn't it? Eternal Fire binds through and through. That's the most common comp. So again, they're just sticking to their guns.
Same thing for Vitality. Hopefully, Yampi locks in the Teo so we can look very smart and that we predicted everything. But I think it is just sticking to what you know in regards to not necessarily changing stuff for the recency bias of it.
Yeah.
And in regards to the banned agents, they're playing into the blender draft perfectly. Nothing affects them going from map to map.
And very quickly, which of these two comps are you feeling more confident in, honestly? Not too often that we're seeing the Gecko be played.
I think we saw it yesterday and it had pretty good impact, right? If we're talking about the Gecko specifically, Eternal Fire, we saw them perform very well with this comp. I don't have any issues with it. I do think I'd prefer Vitality in this situation though. Not just agent specific, but also the player that's using them, right? Like I think you've got to weigh up the experience here. You know, Durka back on the Raze makes complete sense. I don't think there's any weak links here.
For me, Eternal Fire I love the Gecko. It was so annoying for them, or at least for Ulf, to be playing against it, and especially Izzy coming on towards this waylay. We saw how impactful that was, being able to get in towards backside, especially when you're looking towards attacking on towards A. It's not just that first phase of getting into a side, getting in towards that post plant. It's pushing it further, fighting towards spawn, fighting towards heaven, and constantly putting the pressure on the defenders retaking. But for them to start on the defensive side first, you're also then looking for the initial measured aggression of going fast somewhere, being able to refract back out and already get the entry kills, which we've seen them be ever so consistent on.
So, no change in terms of agents, but a change in scenery and a change of pace required for Team Vitality if they want to stay in the competition. Eternal Fire, on the other hand, could be the first Challengers team to book a slot in the Grand Final. We'll see if they can do it on Bind with Joby and Affinity.
Thank you so much. And I think that this is a very exciting map for the second to be on. It's very high stakes for both of these teams, and they've had very good results on it, right? So we're in a really weird limbo about where this is going to go now.
Yeah, it feels like both of these teams are on their better halves from the get-go. I mean, look at
Yes,
Eternal
very
Fire
much so.
especially, right? They started with an Astra because of the blender draft yesterday over the Viper. Now they're back in their element. So they should do even better in that argument, right?
Should do, yeah.
I mean, both of these teams in their quarterfinals matches were 9-3 versus, KC and versus Ulf respectively on this attack and this defense respectively. So it's going to really be do or die now more than the flip side, because then they got pressured, they got pushed. It felt like maybe I'll say Vitality a little bit more when the sides swapped. But again, it's do or die for Vitality. Elimination on the line, or our first Challengers team in Grand Finals. And it will all start right now with Eternal Fire. They have a very aggressive plan around Fountain and Belong here, it looks like.
I love it. Ghosts on the whole team. The barrier goes down immediately. Orb on out, gives them the room to work with. Sturban gonna be caught by the flash, but no follow-up required. Hookah, however, that's starting to waver in control as they creep ever closer. A lot of presence in Shower as well. That's all they have over towards A. And is he actually going to spot out this drone? Fall back immediately. The boombot comes on out, but it's only one player, and it's a ruse they're trying to sell, but nobody's biting.
Yeah, this is fragile. It's going to hinge on Anima and their ability to hold on now that that hookah control, that angle has crumbled. You can see the panic here from the 3-stack in Garden, the indecision of where to phrase, and they just go for 3 strong into Cubby.
Yeah, the issue is with no long presence, they've got a filter out of Hookah and they've got no distraction. In Eternal Fire, they put all of their chips in one place looking at that, and it comes up bountiful. Skylam with another. This is, the idea was there. Izzy immediately, there it comes, the Hinter for one. Dancing, toying with Yampy there. Yampy will walk away successful, be able to retrieve the spike, but how much more fight does he have in him? There's a little bit of a tap. Nobody really baited out, but that's it. Dunking behind the boxes gives Eternal Fire the room to encroach further and further, and the hold is perfect.
A little flick there when they realized, hey, a little bit of a yellow-orange jacket on the left side there from the Tejo, but yeah, no, all in all, I think both of these, they both were felt uncomfortable. It's just this fight and the reaction of who wins it, right? Prophet a little bit delayed behind Durka. Again, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, right? It felt like this was the Durka and Chronicle show more than a team effort, their success against KC, and that round also felt like it hinged on Durka's ability there to win out that multi-frag, and they didn't even have the information on how many were stacked outside of Garden either.
No, nothing at all. Needed a second pincer to really be something special. Now silently creeping in towards Showers.
Yeah, this is interesting. It's because of the Trailblazer late re-clear here, but usually it'd be Izzy fighting Showers and Short once in a while. So this is an interesting framing here, and one that Vitality is definitely going to disrespect. And once again, EF, we're starting to see they kind of lend one player to one angle while getting aggressive or trapping another one, and that's what's happening once again here into A.
Izzy again with the second Sturban there and available. Yes, they lose 2 players, but they've got the advantage, and there's another pincer, there's another crunch coming through. Doesn't even need it. They've got contingencies, but they're not falling back on them, and that is the sign of a team that is looking pretty confident. It's only round 2, but you can feel it from the team. Every win has bolstered that.
Yeah, I mean, the Trailblazer, how many did it spot out? And that immediate decision-making as well to set that plan into motion, to scale out. And they also just trusted, I think, in Spear's ability to pivot between Showers hold and Short hold, and he served that role perfectly here. So, yep, we mentioned up. Only
Izzy
the
up.
first two. Yeah, they get the Izzy up in the third round, glass cannon though. And you can tell though from the buy, from the energy like you mentioned, they're confident and they're showing it by trying to win out the bonus too.
Straight through the teleporter. Nobody to be spotted there. There's the refract on back. Lot of information to be found, and that's going to be the room here for Spear to activate and push a little bit further. Notice that there's only one. Worried that there might be another swing, but it's going to get away without any push, and that in and of itself is more insight into what Vitality is cooking.
And now, I mean, you still don't have that long control, so Jerka trying to backpedal. Drone, confirmation on, it's a sniper rifle back sight here, but now they know where the op is as well, and usually when they see the op, they like to avoid it, but now it feels like they're trying to refight off the brim deep smoke instead.
The walls very much close in there. That missed shot limits how much space beyond the site that you have control on.
But then they just stack it, right? There's three
exactly.
players ready here. Chronicle, though, getting this kill could proc the TP play.
Potentially, and you can see a rotate coming on through ahead of that. Izzy, though, patient, has the angle, a little bit worried about anyone coming from the left side. Not the info to know that both are just clinging this right-hand cubby. Door comes out.
That is
Yampy.
huge.
Yeah. That's all the information, because now Izzy doesn't have to divide attention. Izzy can just hold. The smoke comes on through as the counter. Can hear the footsteps. There's the flash on through. Peeks off the back of it. Izzy gets one. Skyland will fall. But Izzy immediately with the classic. Here's the footsteps. Can hear the planting. No, there's 10 seconds. The spray on out is just playing with the food, right? Needs to find somebody from the edge of the smoke. And these smokes have given them such a position to actually get a spike down in a situation that looked nigh on unwinnable.
Oh, and they gambled wrong on the molly to deny the plan, but the spray down and
Kron's
the
position here.
minefield. Yeah, it's going to be Kron or bust this round. And
They
look,
know.
yeah, Anima.
And now you know that last player on site. Spike planter. Wingman to get on the defuse, and they're going to swing off the back of it, and there you have it, Spear. We talked about Spear on the Gecko has been a real highlight, a real treat that we've been able to witness over this tournament. And it looks like it's reigning supreme once more.
6-0. This Gecko may be his best role. I'm not going to lie. I mean, we have seen the Cypher, the Viper, now this, and yeah, this round, I mean, from, again, opening it with this kill on the Sayonara, that's your flashes neutralized. And, you know, what's interesting here is there was a big decision made to anchor to refight into B here, and that's where we're seeing the double initiator also thrive for EF, because they'll tuck a player in and then they flash out of that elbow smoke every time, whether it's a Dizzy or a Bird. And we saw that even though Vitality had good op counters for Izzy, like that close smoke on default, they just disrespected it with other plans, other kind of support structures.
Anima throws out the molly in exchange. And it's a little bit of a tussle, but I think Vitality decided they want no part of that. Just a little bit too risky. So much resource expended in trying to take that fight, though. Stubborn. Snakebite comes on through. Meant to deter them from pushing forward, but it's not really going to last much longer now. Toxins low, everything comes down, and doesn't have too much instant backup available. Spots a couple of players desperately just wanting to get out of dodge.
Ooh. No, this is an interesting position because we had 5-on-5, but we have a Thrash online and EF now with numbers if they even want to invest it on. There's a little eco attempt from Vitality.
Oh, Izzy knows. Lovely peek round the corner. Quick scope on in. Finds Durka. Prophet falls to Skyland. And Sturban to be the finishing blow. Completely flawless. Vitality again with a 4-0 start. Still early days. The quarter's starting to slip away from us, but they've got a bye coming into this one. This has to be, and this has been, historically speaking with these two teams, the round that things start to get exciting. If, however, Eternal Fire can stop the flood here, that's when it really
We'll get a
starts to
timeout
think,
from Pal. Then we worry after the
Then
timeout
yeah,
from
after
Pal.
the timeout from Pal.
Because they've won their Thrifties before, right, Vitality. That's how they kind of got back in on Abyss that second half, right after losing the pistol. So that's when I'll start counting seconds. But all in all, I do agree. This is, we said it, EF's stronger half. This should be Vitality's stronger half as well, which is where my concern's growing. And Sturban, the necessity for him to perform over towards A short was also growing with all that pressure, but he's happy to be back on the Viper. You can tell just how he's playing around the molly, anchoring that position. Spear, on the other hand,
What a shot.
that's not usual.
No, it is not, but that's exactly what you need when you're going up against a team with the might of Vitality. Sturban with another. Minute left on the clock here, and they've just been held at arm's length the whole time.
And I love this, right? Spear got a kill, got out. They expected the repunish, the chase, so they stop and position Izzy on this op line and rotate Spear to A to stack it, to again bolster now where this Thrash can be. And Izzy, if he gets pressured, right, he can get away, pop the converging paths, and there's no punish. It's a clean escape, and that'll buy enough time, ideally, for this stack on Eternal Fire to get back to B. Let's see if that is, in fact, what gets that in motion, or maybe Izzy just get the up kill. We don't know. It's a gamble.
Just getting the op kill is very much an option. There it is.
And now he frames for long. Watch.
Perfectly done. Wall goes up to buy a little bit of time just to get comfortable, to settle into this position. Wall's now down. Is he just gonna hold on tight? He's very worried that there's been a little bit of a timing that could have been exploited.
10 seconds left.
But with 8 seconds, knows that that is not likely the case. Team's not spotted anything A, and yeah, just the save here.
And they were going searching, but there'll be 2 rifles carried forward. I'm expecting the Powell immediate timeout here, ideally. And it's a difficult position, too, because it feels like EF, there it is, aren't getting pushed at all by the iteration of Vitality. So they haven't even dipped into the ultimates, right? They're stockpiling them to try and get them through what has been these turnaround moments for Vitality. And I mean, they kind of have a buy, I think, to bolster it. Durka has Showstopper as well, so it could maybe go from like some satchel like action there in that regard. And I see a world where they could go for a more explosive play instead of these slow defaults, again, looking to punish mistakes Eternal Fire are making, but there aren't any.
That's the issue with just playing to punish mistakes, is that if your opponents aren't making mistakes, Spear, for instance, hasn't died yet.
Yeah.
8 in a perfect 8 KD. I mean, and look at the money. Maxing out here is going to be something that gives them the safety net, right? Even if Vitality come into this, you said stockpiling the ults, right? You've got stockpiles of money, which means that there won't be an instant eco for Eternal Fire, which means that if you want to bring this back, if you want to finally buy yourself the breathing room of an eco round, you're going to have to wade through a lot of gun rounds to get there first.
Absolutely, and get to see what the swap up looks like for Vitality coming into this pre-round framing. But this is the difference as well, is Eternal Fire have never kind of shown that respect to Vitality. Look, they're setting up their own B short fight once again. Spear and Izzy, you know, the top fragging duo that has gotten them through this series, are once again back at it.
Back at it again.
Skyflash set it up too from long.
Drone comes out. Ooh, lot of information. Both teams to play with the corner or not. Dancing with the question. Missed shot. Yampi will capitalize. Spear, however, first death on the board. And we talked about impactful timeouts. We're seeing it again.
Ow.
There's the page shells at Sturban's feet, alive and counting lucky stars. Needs Skylan to alleviate the pressure, but Yampi holding for this as well. Baiting, dancing on the angle, but it's not enough to get out of teleporter here. Lovely headshot again. Still needs a bit more. That's what we were asking for, but Durka provides again, bailing the team out. 1 versus 3. Anima, yeah, easy shot onto Kron here. Are you going to go for the knife?
I don't think he's going for the knife. I think he was hoping that more would follow him onto the A side, but does not seem to be the case. No, not like that!
You're following him for so long, and yes, trigger discipline's great, but what are you waiting
what
for?
What difference was it going to make? Did we think Anima would have won the 1v2 on the B side?
I mean, everyone's watching.
It's embarrassing, but also imagine the alternative universe, right? He waits, Chronicle walks by, and then suddenly 2 players knives out, run out of A short, right? To go plant the spike. And you get those 2. Now, that would be a winnable situation.
That would be, but I mean, I don't know what you're waiting for, like, in that situation.
You were hoping that more players would come behind him.
But you've not heard anything. You've got no indication that this is even
he needed to shoot him a bit earlier before CT, and he needed to hit the shot. But all in all,
trigger discipline, it's an art.
That's the kind of round that'll like start now. He's getting Anno to doubt himself possibly, and maybe could be the in for Vitality. They won the round. We needed them to.
That you need a round to be the catalyst, and if it's individual brilliance from Durka, so be it. Izzy goes down there. It's the missiles, and Durka uses this as a chance with the attention drawn away to hop into hookah.
Okay. It's gonna be just a powder keg ready to boom here in Anima. You gotta anchor it, and there is so much utility to flush him out.
Yeah, paint shells for backside, flash to go over the top. Sayonara's found both. Spike tapped, trying to bait more players out. Actually just thrown on top for somebody else to deal with potentially. Sturban hiding here, but Chronicle's got a ratty angle. Sturban, however, just going to sidestep it.
They're saving.
I think good call. I think 2 versus 5 when
Look at
you've
the ult.
got, yeah.
I'm trying to think. I think we're finally starting to see some punishing happening from the individual fights and multi-frags player like Spear specifically looked for out of, we saw, right?
Yeah.
Out of Octagon. And aside from that, I think Sayonara that round did a really good job backing Durka up as well. We talked about previously, right? That one round, I think it was even just the pistol, right? Where Durka's jumping out solo and Profec's a little bit delayed behind him, so he's fronting all of that pressure. And this is the clean, this is the Yampy system that he said in that interview was starting to come together that we need to be seeing on the road to recovery. And try to sneak a cheeky kill out there to get towards the Viper's pit, but it does not work. And Skyland's the only one saving that operator to get back into Izzy's hand. Again, major win con for the team.
And we talked about the money giving them that huge buffer. They can rebuy immediately. They can see 2 rounds. And Eternal Fire, they still haven't let up. And at this point, you know, with lost bonuses...
They're both kind of rich. That's crazy.
That's true, actually.
I was like, they saved WoW rich, too. That's interesting to see. I think we have like one more buy for EF after they lose this round, for the most part. So that'll be fun to see as well if we do get that kind of 5 for 5 kind of energy back and forth. But this should be a big round. I'm waiting for Eternal Fire to dip into these ultimates, right? Because similarly, Vitality's also been kind of stockpiling them. So
they've got a bigger stash currently available to them. Okay. Seen a little bit of spray. Anima, the decision to back away or to hold on to this now. Blue info spotted, so they are just going to make the call to rotate early, but I think they're going to just try stall as much as possible, try sell this a little bit. You are going to leave somebody behind, just as insurance, really.
Yeah. And I was going to say, Vitality have definitely found out that Hookah's a little bit weaker, right? Anima peeling off once the mollies are gone. But this time they decided to pop off the showstopper into the A side, which is pretty much very centered around Shower. And there it is, just a perfect double kill. Durka going for more.
Durka still waiting, lying. There's one through the smoke. Anima finally, and there's Profec's Molotov just to stop them capitalizing anymore. They have to filter up into heaven just as the smoke fades, albeit. But a difficult angle and so far removed from sight, weaseling these players out from their positions is just not on the cards right now.
Ooh. They're in a nice post-plant position here. We'll see if the Thrash can flip things up here, but Orbital Strike online. Counter that or counter the tap. And Anima, that's a great kill, but it still might not be enough to get things through the cracks.
There's only so many places that you can filter in to hide from the cover of the strike. They dance with each other. Spear's going to walk away.
Wait a minute.
Op is picked up. There is Chronicle here. Lovely find. Ooh.
Imagine if he died to the spike because he turned back to spray the wall. It would have been close, but all in all, yeah, 5-3 here. Still all the ultimates online for Eternal Fire here. So, again, it's like, I'm not convinced that they're going to lose this half until all those ults are gone and we're tied back. But this was a really nice stabilizing round for Vitality. I feel like everything kind of clicked there. Get onto site, win the site, get into post, execute the post with Profec and that orbital strike. So, again, this feels more cut and dry, right? Right now, out of Vitality, and we're not seeing much creative interference from Eternal Fire.
Into the next round we go. Hookah, we talked about the weakness once again.
Ow.
Shown Anima so quick to back off. This time actually caught around the edge of the smoke. Lucky to be alive. Healed on up instantly like nothing ever happened.
And they're so confident too, because look at where Spear is outside of Long. And again, we're going to maybe have that Hookah crunch when they filter out.
Oh, Yampy spotted somebody desperately trying to just deal with Anima. They couldn't do it the first time. Flash on forward.
Whoa.
Orbital Strike just going to stand in it. Tank the damage. Doesn't survive. But Yampy with the shorty finds one. Profec doubling down. Sight falls. Remaining players so far removed. Ultimates, I mean, you could invest the converging paths, but with being so far away, the time to rotate, you leave yourself very little wiggle room and with no information on sight either. Go, snake bite, Yampy falls back a little bit, but the reposition is going to be minuscule Yampi looking the wrong way, but they just passed each other. Sturban, there we are, finds one, taps, not quite looking. The wall goes up for safety. Profek, though, this is the swing that could be everything, and just looks away at the wrong second. Needed the bodyguard, and Sturban falls out in the open. There's nowhere for Izzy to hide, and it is done. That gap is looking smaller and smaller by the second.
And that super, super late reclear from Kron just kind of cinches it there for them. Finally, an Eternal Fire timeout. I decided not until I saw these ults invested that I would be like, oh no. And finally got to see a few of them utilized here. I mean, honestly, that was a perfect combination there with Anima and that utility. It was that moment, right, where the pressure outside of Long is alleviated by a blind shorty kill that things tip back
best kind
in
of shorty
favor
kill
of Vitality. And like, it is so unfortunate that Izzy peeled off the angle just before Profek swings. So yeah, going back to the drawing board here just a little bit. I feel like they're playing maybe, I want to see a little bit of a shift. They're playing a little bit too much of like live by the site, die by the site. Like when we get to these retakes, right, there's 2, maybe 3 players max alive. And you look at this composition, right, and we talk about the scalability of Izzy, we talk about the Thrash. I feel like those are great tools, again, to get back in. And now that they're starting to falter on the other side, no Armageddon, no Orbital Strike, and post-plant hunker down mechanics, if you played super deep away from the site, I feel like they can flip that here, and we need to see that sort of change on this defense.
I think I just want to see a little bit more of a fight towards Hookah, right? Is that we talked about how quickly they've fallen off.
They were fighting for sand a lot early, and then Vitality would just ignore it and walk away.
Yeah, but they've switched up their tune now, and I think you've got to keep tempo with them. And that's where Eternal Fire was, you know, constantly innovating, constantly one step ahead. The rounds where they lulled a little bit is where they let Vitality get the better of them, get in their heads. And now here we go. Not the Hookah fight, but the fight out towards Long. Spear going with the angle. Not going to find anything. Sayonara runs on up. Here the dog having a little bit of a scout ahead of the mosh pit. Sayonara, huge flash there. Distracts the attention. Lovely pick from Durka. Sayonara finds the next. Anima lining up on the angle, but he's got no support. All of the rest of the team falls. Just about sidesteps the dog directly into the Vandal of Durka. Izzy has a little bit of a look and says, I want no part in this. Money's running dry. Yappy was right in front of you.
Locating targets.
Yeah, baited out of the pit. And Izzy now, I mean, yeah, you're probably thinking of saving the operator, just playing for the safe one kill after another for the next round, which is where we're hoping to see those timeout plays come in. But I like that Vitality finally challenged to be long. I mean, granted, it's on eco, but that still gives you the confidence to be like, hey, we can win these fights. We can dislodge this 3-stack that has been here round after round. So, Izzy, yeah. Unfortunately, Kron also has an operator. That, I think, was gifted to him by you. So, there it is. We're tied 5-5.
It is, and it's been very momentum heavy,
Like
right? First 5 rounds, next 5 rounds. It's been a lot less. It's been a lot more cut and dry, sorry, than what we saw at a bit.
I meant just the score, just the score.
Yes, the score.
And then what happened? Eternal Fire won the last 2 and it was 7-5.
True, true. I'm holding my breath because if we see it again, I'm willing to start believing. But Vitality really seems to be, you know, finding the formula.
No, I agree.
Here.
They have
now
the
immediately
momentum.
towards A site where we haven't seen them be all too proactive early rounds. Izzy on the other side of the map again now realizes that there's a spot of danger to be worried about, and they've got no present. They're fighting tooth and nail here.
Spear wanted a challenge shower as well off that Izzy TP. He's been flushed out, but Sturban, to say this is the Side Anchor usually shines, but Chronicle just dove in with an up.
Why not? Why not when you've got the confidence online? Spear forced into a bit of a different fight and directly into Profek's crosshair. Is he no longer able to take this fight from the high ground? As the smoke fades, Anima ready.
They're doing what I asked. They're waiting for the spike to go down and then playing the retake in a winnable position, right? It's 3-4. It's not that different, but this is the difference. The pit comes down and now this just got a lot more difficult.
Durka kind of trapped in this angle right now. The issue being, though, how long can Izzy's patience last realistically? Lovely stun goes on in, but Yampi doubles down and double the problems. Anima left alone. Viper's pit up, staring at, you know, the lead slipping through their fingers. Here's on out towards Showers, just looking for something to work with. And with how far back they're playing, we talked about how far back they're playing, being a real strength for them. Yep.
Your Brim lineups.
Don't even need it. I don't even think they're going to want to invest it necessarily.
Yeah, Anima, honestly, maybe should have just looked for the operator and to escape, but now, I mean, Ninja Diffuse online, maybe if you crept all the way in, but Kron nearby since the pit is up. Quick shorty kill, Vitality, guarantee at least a lead at the half, and would be looking, fighting tooth and nail for that advantage, and the littering of light shields and suboptimal buys on the side of Eternal Fire, that feels like the likely prospect.
All right. Yeah, I mean, some of that round was a little bit manic. Yampi's double kill there is huge. And I think Yampi, a player that we spoke a little bit about yesterday, who has individually been growing a lot in this tournament. You know, some of phase 3, a bit hit and miss, but phase 4 really stepped up on an individual level.
Spear. I like this fight. We haven't seen like a committed, really deep fight towards spawn, but it's difficult because it's, again, an anti. You go around, the Outlaw comes out, you at least get the 1-for-1 trade, which is huge, not having Chronicle, that late round player alive, but it's a proper call. You just saw a 3-stack fight out of shower. You speed up towards B. And this is where Sturban, we saw him try to anchor A and fail. And this time, I think he's just decided to just say lay down his gun. I was hoping and play retake, but no, he has other plans. He's playing the timing.
Urban holding on, and there it is. They're not suspecting anything. Lines up too, and there's a third coming on through. Anima to be the difference maker. Dodging everything, and just that tiny crevice, that tiny pocket of air is all they could ever need. And finally, they close it on up. It's not quite the 7-5, but it's something to finish the round on. It's, you know what, I want to see stats for Eternal Fire last round of the half win rate. That nobody's tracking, but I want to see, because it's just such a recurring theme, is that no matter how bad it's been up until that point, they lock in for that last round just to make sure that they don't give away the half. And this pistol round, Eternal Fire, again, they won the first pistol. They've won every pistol so far. They won every pistol since we've been here in Paris, right, Zobi? and if they can find this one, again, a leg up, a springboard into the half.
No, absolutely. And it's kind of like based on the fact that they were always just that step ahead, not letting Vitality pass them in this foot race. And they passed them narrowly for like a second, and now they've caught back up, and you can see they're trying to swing that momentum even into the pistol round. 4 strong out of hookah. A little crunch because they haven't cleared long again. It's the same issue, but flipped.
It is, and I thought that Dizzy Flash was going to be magnificent. It's not, and Sturban frantic.
No. Low.
I mean, 3 low is nice when there's a couple more players, I think, and I see the hope.
I've seen the multi-kills, I see the vision, but no, I think it was the shots to the smoke that made that very, very difficult. But yeah, no, this was literally, it feels the same issue, right? You're putting too much pressure on one side in these splits. You're trusting one player late, like we saw Sturban here come up long. And then we need that little synchrony, I think. So, you know, scratch that from the books. Finally, we get a pistol round lost by Eternal Fire.
I think this is kind of huge as well, because not only is it a pistol round that Vitality's finally won, but usually they're really slow to start on their defense side halves. They really struggle for that first quarter. And that's a little bit of a worry going into it, because a lot of the time they're playing catch-up. Now they're not. They've set themselves up really nicely with the pistol.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see Eternal Fire. Interestingly enough, the ones that are slow here, just trying to wait, flush out any player that would have been on the aggro angle, and now it is again just Izzy tip of the spear here, and Durka. I mean, you have a Vandal force up on the second round. Of course, you should be able to shut this down single-handedly.
Yeah, and this is what issue we have with Vitality. There's a lot of dry swings coming on through, not being supported by utility. Durka's going to punish that 11 times out of 10, right? There's no world in which he lets you walk away scot-free. Chronicle finds Sturban, and now we're just sort of going through the motions, trapped there in showers with nothing to alleviate the attention, the prying eyes of Durka.
Yeah. And Durka's that experienced duelist, right? He's not the one that's going to re-swing that into 3 players, donate the Vandal. He got out his, playing the spam angle instead, like you mentioned. And with the smoke coming up as well, that was trying to pave the way for them to get out. That just makes it more difficult for Eternal Fire.
And here we go, Durka. All you need to do is hold the line. Spear jumps on up, switch to the sidearm, and there it is, Yampi just around the edge. That smoke, not enough of a blanket to protect you from Vitality's fire. And now we see the lead taken and 2 rounds, albeit this is Vitality, the best we've seen in the series so far.
Oh, absolutely. Keeping it clean as well to finally break that again. Kind of trailing energy that we've seen in this series. With flawless fashion too, that's gonna... can we even call this a bonus at this rate? Like, look at all the weapons that have been carried. Over 3 rifles here. At the stellar individual performance, we're getting closer to some ultimates too. And now look at the proactivity to layer into the already problematic pie.
And what we're seeing here as well, even early on, is a lot more of that fight in towards mid. Is we're seeing Prophet get a little bit more proactive. That gives them a huge amount of buffer now that these Garden players are starting to creep on forward.
And our reclear salvos if it makes contact just to flush these players out or scale up and refight. Skylin alleviates the pressure here. Durka, I do like this option, right? You're trying to shut down the potential of a TP of a rotate back towards A. I think that stun was supposed to open the door. Fake it out and it doesn't, so that is a huge kill one either way. And making sure there's no follow-up here. So you can stack B once again if you're Vitality.
Stack B, they have. Dog comes on through. Lovely hit onto Sayonara, but that wall going up stops anybody even looking at sight. Profek available for more kills. And Yampi, the moment the smoke goes down, spear in his line of sight, in his mind's eye. And converging all eyes on guards, and they know this is where the remaining players are, and there's a backstab available. Durka for 1 and the second. They don't see it coming. The knife hits at Eternal Fire. They're starting to lose grip of this map.
Yeah, there it is. Again, much like the first half, one team takes dynamic momentum and are hard to shut down. There'll be a moment of, okay, when does the switch get flipped, or does the light stay on for Vitality? Another map and send us to split. The time being, again, I think it's been, we're seeing, again, the confidence, right? Vitality, they were too inactive, right? It felt like over on Abyss, right? Not on the defense, more so the attack, right? But we're seeing them carry that forward here in new stride. Taking a few ones, yes, but winning them because they're right to do so. And
when were we looking at Spear being 8-0? Because he's 10-8 now. He's not being on the individual tear. Yampi.
There you go.
Back off the angle, and we talked about it. A kill with Mosh, but it's not even the guns, but it's a kill nonetheless. Anima with another starts to put a little bit of doubt in their mind. It's not weapons they're able to recover all too much of yet. Durka still in a position, needs to weasel out. There's the pad just to bounce around the corner.
No way they come back into this with an eco round, right? It's still a 3v4. A player super, super low. And the
There's
rest
so much util for this as well. Durka's just trying to bait out Skyland. The wall goes up. Wingman for the stun. Gives Skyland the perfect opportunity. Sayonara needs to come in clutch. Was huge with the multi-kills again. The swing on out. Izzy's given away the position. But Spear finding one more. But that's it. Prof Ek. Izzy just a little bit too over ego with that shorty. Needs to find an angle to work with. Knows that that might be the only chance. But gives away the game.
Yeah, I mean, that was your moment, right? You had to take that fight. You had to go for the trade-off of Spear, right? There wasn't a mistake in swinging there. It was just trying to find that kill or not. And FPS game at the end of the day, that fight could spell disaster. That's double digits for Vitality. That's ult coming online. It was an eco round. That would have been a great turnaround, but it's not the end of the day still. We look at it again. Both teams have won 5, 6 rounds in a row, and that would tie you. That would put you at map point here, right? And flipping the script. Not saying it's going to happen, but that can happen at any moment between these two teams. And hey, Spear's getting back online. They just found, what, 2 kills? And now Izzy was waiting for this moment. They've gone instead towards Shower. It's Sturban that's going to get victimized.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, and there's no opportunity for anything here. And you can see immediately Yampi caught out in the open, but Chronicle with 3. It's a massacre. And we talked about it, it looked bad for a second, it shook momentarily, but the rise immediately after, immaculate.
And that is the immediate timeout called by Eternal Fire as well to stop that train, to stop that momentum. And I think with the full house of the old Fnatic duo of Chronicle and Durka, it's a good time to point out that this is exactly what happened the last time on Bind. They were the two at the top of the leaderboard playing off of each other and finding immense success. They each had 7 and 8 2 kills, like respectively, right? Like they were getting more than just their own time and time again. And if you can't shut that down, what do you do? And that's what Eternal Fire has to figure out.
And it's a big question with great significant answers. And they're running out of rounds to, even if they do figure out the formula, they're running out of rounds to put it into effect. And that's the worry, right? Once you get to 11, you've got, you know, Thrash online. The issue that they're having is being able to follow up from that. And that's been the issue, is they have a cool idea, but it's following through with it.
Mm. That's the issue now, at least in the last few rounds, right? We talked about both of these teams have like a charge-up period in the mid-round to execute towards these plans. Again, you're waiting for that call to come through. And that's where Vitality's been pouncing on, either on the barrier drop, or we've seen Durka with that backstab round, for example, interfering with it before they can get the ball rolling. And broken by here just to keep them off a map point. We'll see what the timeout looks like, and it's going to be a head-on collision outside of Shower.
Flash goes in, and it looks good on
no,
paper. Izzy is, there's no escaping your fate there. Yampy had your name written in his death note. And Chronicle having a little bit of a spray, holding on tight on the other side. It's just stunted this offense.
Yeah, Thrash could try and set up Sturban for an entry here if it doesn't get stripped away. Drone going to clear out Shower instead. Kron front and center. I thought he was going to get completely mowed down through the smoke, but instead gets the snake bite off. Nullifies the Thrash, and now they still have sight with less than a minute left.
Exactly, and there it is, the Showers push on out. The two of them activate, and Anima stuck between a rock and a hard place. The worlds of hurt on both sides. And that is match point Vitality. Yeah, they conceded Abyss, and I'm sure they're not happy about it, but this series still theirs for the taking.
Yeah.
They want to show why they were the pick of so many of the casters, why they are the favorites.
And this round in particular, we saw that system, right? From the trap to punish Izzy to how they shut down the A short control off that poison orb as well. So well-oiled, this machine is chugging along towards a map 3. And by the look of it, we may just see another Durka kind of aggressive fight here down A short to end it all. And that's where Eternal Fire trying to wait instead. A nice little trap. The dog might not spot you up on truck. You have the pit up here.
I think it was spotted.
I don't think so.
Izzy immediately back on out. Sturban's found Chronicle through the smoke. Durka's got one and it's good, but Sturban, the double down. Immediately the counter Viper's pit, but Durka's still going crazy. Finally being taken down. There's the orbital strike just to try force them out to try take down this snake's pit, but it's not gonna be the end of the world. Immediately right back in. It's gonna stay up.
They've stabilized.
Yeah.
Oh, the double swing?
Oh, the double swing, but that's a collateral, and that's a real issue. The one Seeker rings out, rings true, and it is broadcasting Anima's location like a beacon. The molly limits the options on where Anima can even peek. Swung by Sayonara, victorious, and that's the round they close it out on. 13-6, they're back in the game.
And they are heading to Split now. A contentious map for both of these teams. And that round, I mean, if I've learned anything, it's never double swing out of your own Viper's pit. It never works.
The game plan has worked. I know we said that in map 1, they didn't really change the comp. They weren't, you know, throwing any spanners in works. But here on Split, I think you would expect classic Vitality to play, especially with the confidence they gained off of map 1. It's a repeat of what we saw against KC yesterday, is they stuck to their game plan, they play what they want to do and stick to what they know. And that formula is what beat KC yesterday.
I do want to say I'm so excited to see Izzy again on the chamber. This player on towards the duelist, great. You saw so much impact across the first and second map, both in those little pockets with the operator being so impactful. Now having an opportunity to go onto an agent, literally built-in operator in regards to the ultimate of that tour de force, be hopefully, especially starting on the defensive side, we're talking about the quick and strong starts for Eternal Fire. This could be a surefire way to not only just get that 4-0, 5-0 start, but to maybe push it further in towards the end of the half.
It's also a massive head-to-head with Durka as well. Now back on the Waylay, which we saw in the first map, solo duelist, but something which Eternal Fire themselves struggled with between him and Izzy, sorry. Looking for those dives, a lot of that aggression, Vitality fully locked in, whereas here Eternal Fire taking the extra time to just talk things over.
I mean, I understand the chamber pick, right? Like, it's totally understandable, but I think the one compliment that we posed to Izzy so much in the first map was the fact that he was there for a lot of the entries, a lot of early round success. So obviously the chamber is very capable of doing that, but maybe not being able to take positions and so on.
Mate, you did not see the Oxuji game because that guy was insane on the entries on the chamber. He was like 8-2 or something. Like, he was constantly proactive. And we're talking about the difference in the swap between seeing who is on towards the Sentinel, who's on towards the Duelist. Spear going on towards Raze is also something I'm looking towards seeing yet again. Another important factor when playing in the previous matches we saw in Project Blender on towards this map itself. So I think it really does play to the strengths of each player. And then also the added factor, you've got Izzy defending a site solo with all the utility to back himself up, with the utility to put for a self-initiation, go for those early peaks, be able to TP back. And then on towards the attacking side, I'd hate to be Vitality.
Split queued up as our decider to settle this first semi-final and see who it is that heads to the grand final. Can Eternal Fire do it again, or are Vitality back for revenge? That's what we're here to find out with Affinity and Shobi.
On a knife's edge either way there. Thank you so much to our wonderful Des. They're setting us up perfectly for this match. And I think it always had to go a third, right? The Abyss win was great, that second map. But this is where we started to have questions in the pre-show about this third map if it goes the distance.
Yeah, I mean, you are coming out of a loss on this map if you are the side of Vitality. Carmine Court kind of bodied them a little bit. So yeah, the system itself is clean, but it's how it applies to this map in their court. And on the flip side, this is one of the few maps that I feel is like Eternal Fire have lived and learned, or lost and learned.
Yes.
Right, is the best way to phrase it, right? They lost a foot in that pretty dynamic fashion and then had a really nice bounce back, like Summer or Winter mentioned, in terms of that Oxuji match. So again, I'm going to be looking towards, again, what conditions they can translate now, since it feels like we have a fix out of Eternal Fire, and what Vitality can change coming into this. For example, right, it'll be most of the defensive changes, like I want to see from Chronicle. Again, they were very retake-centric, and that didn't work at times, and that's such a change of pace from what we're going to expect to see, right? With these hard anchors of both Sturban and Izzy in this match. And I'm excited to see Spear on the Duelist. He's been aiming all day.
Has indeed. Now let's kick off this pistol round. Smoke to go out immediately. Sturban, a little bit of a spray to go on through. It's enough of a deterrence that they're going to regroup, head elsewhere.
Okay. Then elsewhere is a little bit of a mid-pressure. The double duo walking down. Izzy can TP up, but Spear is just following up with Sturban too.
Paranoia available on the counter, but there it is. Close range fight. Anima not going to be able to win it out. Would have been a nice one to find, but Sturban with one, Anna with another. They're starting to demolish this. Yampi back site means that they have got no foot on this side, and then the spike falls. It's all a little bit problematic in Chronicle. What is there left to do?
Hunker down, hope they make a mistake, hope they overfight, or get some lucky shots through that dark cover. That's the idea, but if he sticks around for too much longer, he will be pinned. Izzy scaling down mid, trying to keep them contained to Ramen, but Anima will give him a swift, merciful death. 3 kills on the round. He's been that player that, after stepping in for Brave, I feel like hasn't been as impressive as we were hoping for, and that is a great way, I think, to kick things off, statistically speaking.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. And now we go on to the second round. Nothing really for Vitality to bring into this one. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Classics have done masterful things, but this may be just a little bit of a stretch too far.
I will say as well, I think this is the first time we're seeing Anima truly tested as an anchor. Right? He is alone on B it right now, and ecos are known to be deathball killer kind of rounds, especially for Vitality, right? This Stark group up, aside from the Chronicle lurk that's trying to puncture on through, but Izzy's the one to clap first.
What is these? Izzy no scopes to open up rounds. Anima wants to jump on top, has a window of opportunity, and it's a lovely sight. And there it is, spray down for one, not able to find anything further, but it gives Sturban the room to get into a better position to rain down hell.
And it's Sayonara left in a 1v3, 70 HP left. The double swing from backside will keep it fairly clean here for Eternal Fire. And I like that we got to see, I feel like, the Durka waylay in action a little bit there, more so setting everybody up for the trades, up for the success there, swinging out of that dark cover. And then also like they use that to get out of that choke, right, to dislodge what we saw was this anime TP play, which did find enough, like we mentioned, to buy Sturban that chip damage, long range spectrum. We know how that can go. And just like that, head in to the next operator. Was that, did I see that correctly? Who has that operator? Is that Izzy already with a third one operator again? That is the idea.
We like it, and on the chamber it works so well. Anima, a little bit of a look. Prowler's going to be spotted, baiting out a little bit of utility. Smoke to be put on forward, but it's not going to do anything to deter Durka. Already having a look, gets out of dodge, got free, and Profek has taken up the space instead. Will fall, and nobody else wants to try provide the revenge for that pick.
I mean, that snakebite set up Anima so well, and Sturban too, and they were hoping that Kronk get a little bit deeper into A so they could go back, they could pivot there. Instead, they have to call for the refight, and that is a fortunate overheat from Sturban on Vitality's side.
The Anima off angle is being called very nicely. Spear gets one before falling. The site has now been overwhelmed. Is he having a little look? Spots the player. You don't miss shots like that. The spike gets denied. Now Durka, even more weight on his shoulders, going to pick it on up. Actually, going to immediately plant, having a little bit of a Durka, little tiny reposition just out of Izzy's watchful eye here. And now it is, can Durka hold on round the corner? One player's already silently slipped down the high-low, being pushed on forward. I think spotted a gun barrel, doesn't want to be baited out on the shots. There's the first. Izzy needs to be perfect, but the issue is going to tuck back sight, force Izzy to make the first move. Crawling, creeping forward.
Yeah, so much until he could trademark and wrap the other way, but it's just going to be riding it out in this corner.
Actually, you know, it's going to have to be good. It's going to have to be
50-50.
no scope, looking the wrong way. Headhunter in hand. And it comes down to the wire, but they do, in fact, find the third Eternal Fire off to a cracking start.
Wow. And now it's going to be a question of, okay, are we going to get another 5-for-5 run like we did over on Bind? Because they should, I would say, be guaranteed a fourth here, but when there's a Rolling Thunder on the line because of Sayonara's insane individual standing here on the site, yeah, there is potential, but this was a really nice, I think, initial hold that kind of set the groundwork here for Eternal Fire. Again, the snake bite, the reaction between Anima and Sturban. It was this rescale around the choke that Vitality was actually able to punish, and where things got a little bit dicey and got down to this Durka 1v2 clutch where he just lost a 50-50. So flip the coin, it doesn't land your way, and you are suddenly down again 0-3.
What goes out is he's just going to let it.
You know where the op
in.
is?
They know where the op is. It's a start, and you can see immediately they're like, we want nothing to do with this, not today, and head elsewhere. Mid presence has been held by Sturban. Now gonna have to give it away a little bit. That smoke providing the first rung in the ladder of control.
There's not much response either off of that C's over towards Vent. Even if there was, you can see immediately Procedure set the snake bite and set the refight, and they have found both in quick succession.
And there's still this smoke on up, and now suddenly it's detrimental to Vitality. Is he waiting for somebody to have a little bit of a hop up? It's gonna fade, and now sat out in the open. Spear on the close angle, gets both of them. Need to immediately go out, but there's nobody there. Is he waiting for the flush? Sayonara, we talked about the Rolling Thunder, not gonna be able to use it in this round. Holding for somebody to push, knowing full well it's coming. It's a nice little angle, and there it is through the wall, gets it done. Backing on away, but Anima has taken up main.
It's another 1v1 given, but no shield. It's one that Anima is going to win. They keep it fairly flawless as well, and because of that multi-frag from Spear as well, that's Showstopper online, which could be a huge counter to the Rolling Thunder coming into the next Vitality round. It's like clockwork. This is now the third map where it's like an 0-4. And then it's either timeout here or at the 5-1 mark, and Pal gets the ball rolling. So is that what's going to happen again here, Affinity?
I mean, if it happens again, we're really not beating the Pal allegations. It's you know, magic words being said in these timeouts. And it's really good to see, you know, really strong coaching staff around this roster.
Ooh, a death ball. When all else fails, this should succeed, right? Right?
Exactly. You know, in case of emergency, please open.
Well, if there's in a case of emergency, it's the Showstopper. They're tucked away heaven, and the dash from Durka is already in.
And there's the first Skyland with 2, and spotted a couple more before the smoke landed. Showstopper goes out, isn't gonna find anything more. Lucky that they weren't all grouped up there.
Oh, he's kind of alive.
By the skin of his teeth is the answer. Not for much longer. Sturban had something to say about it. And there's the 5th round flawlessly in timeout. Are we?
Hey!
Waiting for it.
And honestly, that round was such a team effort too from Eternal Fire, right?
Yeah.
It opens with Skyline buying enough time for the Showstopper to come out here, which also causes some chaos. And when it finally feels like Chronicle might have wrestled it back, might have given Vitality a chance, and they want that extra information from the Neural Theft, that's when Sturban strikes from the high ground. And all in all, again, a very stable round, a very strong showing that we're seeing from Eternal Fire to kick things off here on what the Death said was going to be a strong half from them with Izzy on this chamber. And now, if you are Vitality, I mean, the A Death Ball, I said when all else fails, you do that, and that also failed. Now what do?
Then you've got to hope that something set is coming on in here.
I feel like we haven't seen, like, I don't want to call it an overly committed, but we haven't seen a very committed mid-fight either. It's been kind of teasing at it, testing at it, but never like, oh, we're sending, like, we just sent Durka into mid-vent or something with a judge.
Yeah, they
like,
have a little peek, and then they go...
Exactly. Even through a season, there was no spray or nothing behind it. So much like how I kind of asked on Abyss, I wanted a committed main fight on their defense, I want to see a committed fight around mid. Maybe that's the weak point that they can identify.
I don't think we're going to get to see it this round, sadly, with the tee up towards A.
Hey, they can do it on
They're saving it later. They're saving it for later.
I see. I mean, yeah. And then if the A Death Ball doesn't work once, you try it again, apparently.
Exactly. If at first you don't succeed. There's a lot of adages that sort of conflict each other.
I do like this, though, with the breach in sewer. It's kind of setting up for then a ramp stun is the idea here. So maybe Durka's going to try and dash and identify a solo player there. But again, it's difficult with these proactive flashes from Skyland. And even the spray down on the cross, there's a lot working against that.
Yes. Working against them, Spear. Holding the line. Durka. We said the Durka go kill strat. Send him in first and hope for something mighty. Expecting something mighty. This round, though, they got quite far, but they've decided, actually, they just want to pull back. Now we're getting them in towards mid, but it's the push and pull of this round.
Like, they used all of that util just to get a cam into heaven that's now been destroyed by Skyline. And that's my concern, is that we're less than a minute left and they look like the barriers have just dropped.
Yes.
And finally we see Sayonara maybe creeping up towards mid. They also got the Sturban Snake Bite out. That's a plus, but that's really all. And so they are hinging again on Chronicle winning this fight. And fortunately they put their money on the wrong horse.
Yeah, it is a tad unfortunate.
Ooh.
This paranoia... I mean, the issue is there's nobody ready to swing off of it necessarily, but catches out Durka in the worst possible way, and it splits off this team. Now Sayonara's got to do something. This fault line not wide enough. Anima, what a crazy play to jump on in there, and they're requiring somebody to step in.
And I'm sorry, but that shorty dive into the smoke exactly matches his quote, saying, we're not scared of the tier 1 teams, we're going to be the tier 1 team.
Exactly.
And that is the kind of carefree energy that he just brought into that. And again, but you notice, they worked mid slowly, they got all of that space, right? And that was the difference, is they had issues getting out of heaven, obviously, because he's like, oh, there's no one to swing off of his paranoia. Well, they swung into him, so it was all good to go. But yeah, this was, I think it's good progress this round was, this eco. It showed them again that they're right about maybe a weakness in mid, but now with all of these ults and now weapons back in hand, we've got to see them use it. And unfortunately,
They're not going mid.
no, they're just kind of reframing themselves for another A pop, which the ults, if they don't get them into the site, nothing will.
I love that, 2 ults expended to give them the control and the pathways into both sites. Yampy straight away on the spike plant. Finally, we're getting to see it, and early in the round this time. It's speedy, it's quick. And now things slow down once Eternal Fire figure out a way to weasel it.
I think this is the first 5v5 retake we've seen, like,
Yes.
all series.
Definitely, and I'm hoping it delivers, right? Eternal Fire just waiting. Durka, though, there's the first pick coming on through. Forward, and there it is, Skylan. And now they're suddenly getting very claustrophobic. They've been trapped away, pushed further and further back by this expanding site hold.
You can see Izzy already teasing at the idea of pulling away here to save the operator, and with their comrade falling Anima down, it is the full sprint, the full flee, and Izzy realizing I don't have enough time. Turn tail to fight. And hope there isn't a timing through sewers, and it looks like They are going to hold on. So now we know Vitality issue was getting onto his side, nothing to do with the post plant, which we haven't gotten to see too many opportunities in regardless here. And it was because of this refight, right? Beautifully constructed. We talked about the duelist of Sayonara and Dirk are working well together, but this Breach Waylay combination is also really nice and really clean. So now the issue is, okay, without those ults that we just saw, it took a converging paths and a rolling thunder. How are you going to get onto these sites if you're Vitality, right? It was a one-time fix. You can't do that every round.
I mean, you've got the Nightfall, which isn't quite the same,
yeah.
but it gives you something. But when that's gone, then we have to ask the same question again. We're just prolonging the inevitable. And talking of inevitable, Izzy back on form with these chamber peaks.
Yeah, just shuts down again the backdoor option. Chronicle, who was big like Retro on the desk mentioned in setting up some of these pivots on the bind. So now without that, you kind of do have to commit, hopefully the Nightfall, into this B take. And Izzy's rotating back over here too to support Anima.
Here we go. Nightfall's going to come on out ahead of all of it. Izzy's not going to be deterred. Dirk, Izzy out of nowhere. The aim on for it. And it's in a blink of the eye. They just run on in. The wall of death that is Izzy gets the opening, decides, no, I'm done with this portion of the map. I want to kill them everywhere.
And that is so interesting too, because it felt like, right, it was usually Sturban and Anima anchoring this. I think it was like a round or two ago was when we started putting Izzy here as well over the A side. And honestly, I mean, even with this backside challenge from Durko, he dismisses out before finishing the kill onto the Omen because their players are getting pressured main, and it wasn't safe.
I mean, that's a confidence booster if ever you've seen one, right? 7-1 up, an ace. It's...
How many more are they going to get? That's basically the question.
That is that. And I don't think they have answers. That's the bigger worry here. And I love this. Is he going aggressive mid? They've said, you don't want mid? Fine, we'll have it.
I mean, okay, they've been B heaven, they've been B main, they've been mid, they've been ramps, they've been everywhere in Durko. May not have been expecting it, but can refract away to safety. And now they know the ops mid. They know this round they can't challenge it, as has been recommended. So it's going to be the A regroup. We talked about it. Chronicle this time alive, not challenged or fighting into Izzy. This could be, I feel like, the end. It's interesting how light, actually, that Eternal Fire have stacked this. Because last time the retake went south fast, right? And they're doing it again.
And they've got the Seekers, and they're pretty quickly going to find this out. The rotate still fairly far away is the issue. Already a player up in heaven. Durka spraying on down. Still going to be an issue, but Skylan is dealing with all of them and is ready for a little bit more. Spotted the shoulder of Sayonara, but he's just a little bit quicker. Profec's got one, and they've still got Spear in heaven now. But the issue is so little support. Boombot's found something, but you can't follow up on this lead because you don't know where it's gone. Having a look down, but the moment you drop, yeah. I mean, dodges the paranoia with a big question mark, kind of, but it's good for only one. And Chronicle lining up the shots. They've realized now, we've suggested mid, but A-site retake, you can get that spike down. You can do anything.
And it was almost gifted to them by Eternal Fire, right? We talked about Skyline playing super deep into screens. I liked the refight there off the Seekers because we mentioned how last time they had a 5v5 retake, right? It wasn't ults, it wasn't anything that disrupted it. It didn't go their way. And it still didn't go their way, even with that Skyline 2 piece. So that does concern me a little bit. And it came again off of Durka and his disruption factor. So that disrespect, which I said I wanted actually in the next half, right? And so it's nice to see, it's refreshing, and maybe it'll give us hope of stabilization by the end of this half.
Oh, tour de force, one bullet used already to deal with the Prowler. Just spotted Yampi, but precious little ammo, chooses to conserve that bullet.
Okay, this feels more disruptive of a take. I'm expecting Spear down ramps. Maybe the Paranoia was supposed to set him up better. That spike down, but it's still gonna probably be an A-site falling to Vitality.
Durka so quick up into heaven, gives them such a huge position to anchor, to pivot from. Skyland goes down, Sturman gets something. Spike still hasn't gone down, it's a 3 versus 3, and Chronicle locked out of this angle. Izzy, laser focused.
And that's the issue. Is yeah, Durka got through, but they left so many places unchecked that Sturban gets the backstab, Anima gets the side anchor, and now they've bought time for all of these rotations.
Oh, spotted on out, Izzy. Oh, it was all just a base and switch for the Headhunter. And now Yampi knows what the danger is here. Doesn't expect Sturban. Sturban, a little bit of an odd peek to come on through. Has a Prowler available, but time starting to dwindle. And you know that there's still a tour de force. Has to drop on down, but Anima's here. And you don't want to give them the 1v1s. Anima going to back away. Nice decision to be made.
Yeah, I mean, there's 20 seconds left, right? You can play for him having to plant the spike.
Ooh, spotted the edge there. That's all needed. And Izzy wants to get up close in your personal space. And Yampy, the 3K to give them something. It felt a little bit overeager.
And Yampy was that fragging IGL despite the loss against K-State. He was the only shining star, right? He had a few, sheriff multi-kills here and there.
Yeah.
Give them a thrifty or two. And now he is the clutch factor that got them a very important swing round, which would be the difference between a close half and a very one-sided affair in Eternal Fire's favor. And honestly, Sturban, that's the second time I think this half that we've seen him go for refights that kind of tip things back into the balance where it becomes dangerous. And this time it did slip fully away.
Ooh, mid getting a little bit busy here. Actually, it's going to be Eternal Fire the first to pull away. Izzy trapped a little bit, going to swing out for one. The high-low is immaculate.
Wow.
And they finally, I mean, it's not exactly the aggressive mid take we wanted, but it's finally the effort put into mid, making some sort of return on investment.
It gives me a reminder of how they could keep Izzy repressed on bind.
Last player standing.
Okay, there's another to the tally. Skyland finds one. No, somebody is past him, but can't afford to turn the attention away because Sayonara says goodbye, and that lead is saying goodbye.
In the half.
Well, wait before the half is up, but we get another 7-5 on our hands here, which is why the timeout actually comes out from Jonesip here pretty early. They don't want to, again, have to hinge in the balance of a pistol round, win or lost. And
I'm not a fan of the timeouts before the last round.
I can see why.
I can see the benefit of it, just making sure that it's 7-5 instead of 8-4. That gap does feel quite.
Well, no, they took it for the 8. They want the 8-4 instead of letting it.
Yeah. I don't know how much. I don't think it's the most effective use of very limited resource.
I think for Eternal Fire specifically, we haven't seen them really use 2 late timeouts. It's usually just kind of that one final if they need it to get over the rage.
Yeah.
So I just don't think Jonesip is that as like playmaker kind of coach from what I've seen and where they're taken. He's more like pointing out mistakes to me, like just like based on when they're taken. Again, I'm not in the call. I'm not listening to their voice communications, although that would be cool. And I think again, it's just some of these overfights, these overswings that are being taken. Maybe how to improve the retakes a little bit, because that's also been a little shy. Again, I think there's fixes needed across the board. One of those is not easy. 13-3. Whew. Even if they lose, Summer can be like, I was right. The Cypher, the Chamber's hitting. But this round, I don't know if it's going to happen. Right? Look at Vitality coming to this last round. Look at the ults.
There's quite a few of them. And
look at the trifecta.
I mean, 2 of them aren't the world away. You get a nice 2-piece. There's one more online, right? Izzy lining up the shot here. They're crawling on out. Dirk the first up. The converging path.
He's avoided it.
He has completely. The issue is they haven't taken the space. They've used it, and now they're just gonna leave.
Yeah, and we know that Eternal Fire doesn't fall for these fakes too keenly, especially when there's a possible Chronicle or Gay side.
And with how passive they are, I mean, the reads are really good for how little information they've been working with.
It's still
Rolling
hit
Thunder
Izzy.
comes out. Izzy seems indestructible. Misses shot. Somebody's just walked right past. And here we go. Sturban does find one. Profek in a lovely position to stop any re-aggression onto the site.
They punish Dirk, are trying to fight forward, finally.
And Izzy, another one. Sayonara is hoping just to keep the teammates alive whilst they wear off all of the debuffs. Yampy holding the line. A multi-kill here needs something. The first swings on out, isolates the Jewel, and now they have to walk onto his
Look at the flame.
territory.
Kron could also be the linchpin here. Yampy just needs to buy time.
Yampy, unfortunately, not able to buy time. Chronicle trying to buy the distraction, and it means nothing. Sayonara peeks out for one, and you can see them trying to build it. You can see the Lego pieces being slotted together, but it's not making something cohesive.
Yeah, it's difficult when we literally said you had the trifecta, right? The golden ultimates to get into a side, and 2 of them find absolutely nothing there, and there's no follow-up off of them either. The Nightfall was a nice delay, I'll say, from Yampy there into CT. Forced the respect out of Eternal Fire, but yeah, this was difficult, to say the least.
Is it a little sadistic of me to say that if this wins, that I'm not the only one now? I can't be bullied for being the only caster with that
everybody,
prediction.
it would just be me versus
Cairo.
Cairo, and that's
Yep.
just by the other semifinals.
Oh yeah.
So it'll just be whoever, and then all of us are wrong if the other team wins in grands. If if Eternal Fire win the entire thing, everybody's wrong.
If I can't win, no one can. No, it's very much hanging the balance. And we talked about Vitality Pistols, not traditionally very good. They've really struggled in this series against an Eternal Fire who has taken every opportunity.
Got their first second half of
They got,
fine,
yeah, got one.
which again was them pushed to the brink
Yeah.
from elimination, and now it's here again.
Back against the wall. Izzy with the headhunter. Sayonara first up to duel. Not even that, actually. Spears found one. One shot fired off. It's a warning. Leave now with your life.
The deadly warning if I've ever seen one.
I mean,
I was
it
gonna say,
doesn't connect.
This is nice reframing, though. I was worried about them giving up this much mid space because it's very similar to Abyss, how we see consistently Eternal Fire use that to win rounds. But this was a nice crunch, nice stun to set up for instead be Heaven control. But it's set off too early. Fault line's now gone, and it's a backpedal entirely from Eternal Fire to the ace site, which was given up by Chronicle for this stack. They're just playing full retake, which I mentioned is how Vitality's been playing split, even in that KC match.
And you got to ask questions about its efficacy. Chronicle having a little bit of a look.
Whoa.
Right idea, wrong execution. Spear finds one. The rest of the team just going to swarm, but they're not even going to hit the ace side. Actually, B is where they are. The desire to plant here, the desire just to wipe them all out.
They don't take a risk. I thought Izzy was going to wrap through CT, but it is a full on-site confrontation. That paranoia has put Yampy in a 1v3 at least, but Izzy, instead of backstabbing through spawn, backstabs through top heaven. And they are good to go. Another pistol on the board, only missing one in this entire series and tournament so far.
Yeah, and
Phase 4, I should say.
Yeah, I think phase 4 they've been pretty flawless on them, and I mean Vitality means that it's not an 100% pistol round win, but it's nigh on, right? You couldn't really be much closer.
No Stinger Force this time, guys?
I mean, it
Not on a
would
defense.
be.
It's like more of an attack kind of thing to me.
I think. I mean, it would be cool to see it a little bit chaotic, but
I didn't want
don't
it.
know
I
if-
was just wondering. It was more of a funny callback. But
funny. I mean, they've had some good conversions when they've gone for it. But
hey,
I
it
don't
made it
think
close.
now is not the time. But that does mean potentially the 10th conceded. Izzy, don't go for a no-scope here. I'm scared. I'm scarred from all the times that Izzy's gone for these no-scope peaks and walked away unpunished for the
If
arrogance.
there's a time for it, it would be when there's 3 shorties trying to push you. I will
True.
say. I feel like that would be a valid trade. But now smoke's faded. They're really deep positions. They were really hoping that they would get that timing right. Instead, now again it's the mid fight. Durka contact made, but Spear's been lurking. So can you even solidify that as control? No, they go for the reprowl, and Izzy gets away with a quick scope.
It's so good. It's
Another one.
so good.
And
There's
another one.
3. I mean, it
Give him
just
another
keeps
ace.
going. I mean, the other players are on the other side of the map, and
Aw,
unfortunately, Sturban crushes
Sturban.
the double ace dream. I mean, there's baiting for the ace, and then there's waiting for them on the other side of the map. Nobody's got that patience in Eternal Fire. They want this done yesterday.
Sayonara trying to finish off, right? Sturban, who's super low HP, at least gives some iota of like success, right, on the second round. So it's not a flawless, but Sturban on the full retreat. You had a...
I mean, didn't even
Aw.
hesitate on running through the smoke. Kudos for the confidence, but now trapped, skewered on all sides.
Never gonna cover the Bulldog anyways. So that one was more for pride, for honor, it felt like, for Sayonara. He's like, I can twiddle my thumbs. I have like, 30, 40 seconds left to do
Why
nothing
not?
with. But as the second half timeout taken by Pal, last half we actually saw it finally not get the round through that it needed to, right? After we celebrated
Yeah.
finally taking it. So that curse may have been broken. We'll have to wait and see here.
I need another one. I need another one just to believe that the curse is truly gone.
But it's so difficult too because this is just their first rifle round of the
True.
half, right? Like it feels so early. This is more to make sure nothing goes wrong because if it does, you're out.
Yes.
Right? It would be 11th, you're broke. It's very likely 12th, and you need what, 7, 8 in a row to get to overtime just for a chance of getting to those grand finals. But yeah, Eternal Fire. They said they were strong words, and they were definitely living up to them in those interviews yesterday and
Yeah.
prior phases.
Okay. Now we have to see. Now we have to see something. And I think you're right. This is for me decides it, right? This is do or die. Well, not
And we're
quite, but
we're talking about it it's a bonus though still for Eternal Fire, and that's crazy that we have to think about because of how high their bonus conversion has been,
is, yeah.
especially in this semifinals. Like that's what's crazy. It's like we're like on the side of, oh, Eternal Fire is gonna convert the bonus. How can Vitality stop it? Which is not normal, and it's crazy to think about. And you can see how are they planning on changing it so far. Not too much action. Maybe again, Prophet to set up Durka on a cheeky little corner angle, and that's about it.
trying to bait out this utility. They've made absolutely no noise towards A. They've made no noise anywhere. Just leave Vitality guessing, leave them constantly simmering uncomfortably.
Okay. And once again, we mentioned a purposeful lapse in mid control from Vitality. They instead hold on to the extremities.
Do they know mid exists?
I don't know. They didn't on Abyss too much until Kron
Mildly
posted up
allergic.
and off there. And this is the issue: is okay. Can they hold on to the heaven space? Can they hold on to the vent space? Because Spear is disrespected. Izzy's disrespected.
Ooh, the fault line comes on through, and I think I
They
was going to say it's just what the doctor ordered. Unfortunately, it's wrong. It doesn't matter, and that's I think the issue is Vitality. It feels a sense of futility here.
And I think they learned last time when they followed through on the B take that Vitality like to rotate as soon as they lose Tesla control. It doesn't happen this time, even though they backed out. With the backpedaling, with the fight into A, it's going to hinge on if Kron can beat Sturban or not. And that's why he doesn't want that fight. He doesn't want to have that pressure on him in the make or break round.
And here we go. It's a nice seize to just buy precious seconds. For the rotate, Chronicle caught by the paranoia. The
Huge skill
spam
trip.
through that is amazing, and they hang on. Yampi, again, the savior, running out of time. Sayonara could be in a position to ruin everything, but has a bodyguard. Yampi doesn't manage to get it, but it doesn't matter because there's no one left to defend.
Oh yeah, Durka, the backstab onto Izzy makes the round a success. Not a standout one with two players limping away, but it gets the job done. And
A win's a win.
yeah, a win's a win at this rate. Yeah, you need 5 more to tie, and it really does come off of Yampi and Chronicle. That was a perfect sight hold there to buy just enough time. Like, you can't hold on forever. That's not a Sentinel's job, right? It's to get one, get off, get two, and die. It's like one or the other, right? And that's exactly what we saw here. And that's what I asked for, right? I talked about a Chronicle. Was instead of playing a little bit deeper in screens, giving up the site, they were playing retake, and that was a coin toss here. This perfect tag team.
And that's what we want to see more of coming forward. Izzy getting ready for some mischief once more. This time, Destination Durka. Having a little bit of a look. Prophet's going to break the bot. Post up in this corner and wait for somebody to walk on in. We know this is a trained sniper. Patience, not something he's lacking in.
Here.
Durka didn't get his opportunity to pounce from this corner last round. Is running it back now.
Shadows traveling.
Gone through is going to cut off the line of sight, and Izzy is just going to have to find somewhere else to go hunting. Now in mid, again, they're not even looking at it.
Same setup from Vitality, same start from Eternal Fire. We're literally running back the last round, but this time with weapons on Eternal Fire's side. Big switch up, I think, this time was Izzy went with them right through mid, played from Raptors. Now it looks like he's going to be the side to regroup with Sturban to ensure that they can win that fight, maybe get more pressure through main. And this is a huge reclear, perfectly timed from Durka to confirm that they're going from mid to A instead of mid to B, or framing for a B split here, and just kind of now preparing Yampi and Chronicle to have the same, hopefully, side anchor they had last time.
I mean, the setup was so
30
good.
seconds
Chronicle's going to get milliseconds of information here. Only spots one.
They're Sayonara this time.
Yeah, they are. Nade lands, Chronicle forced back Yampi. There's the swing on out, the spike dropped. Spins around, Anima though there to trade. Chronicle clinging on Spear though. Yes, they're running out of time and Chronicle is getting it all done. Sayonara just wants to stop them, and this could be everything. There's going to be nowhere safe to plant. Skyland falls, Spear has to come on off. Every piece of utility in the world thrown his way. Deny the plant, deny them that 11th.
And I'm sorry, but that recognition from Sayonara is why he is a rockstar rookie right now. If it wasn't called by a teammate, right, to be like, you have Aftershock, use it. If he has that, like, recognition to wait, to get the aftershock out, to flush them off of what should be the plant position, or at least make them out in the open to finish off the round. That makes all the difference. If he swings and dies there, that's a free plant. That's a 2v2, I think it was.
Yeah.
And suddenly that round could have slipped away. But yeah, now we are just 4 rounds away from making this, call it a comeback. At least tie us up here, but
You want to play?
the buy's not great, but I could see the Tour de Force make a difference. I could see Spear up ramps with the Sheriff making a difference, but Yampy.
Yampy, man of the hour, name on the tip of our tongues this whole series, through the highs and lows of Vitality. And now needing to step up against Skyland. Again, a little bit of info, not gonna spot anybody out though, and it's Izzy on the other side of the map looking to make waves.
Yeah, the question is, even if he gets a kill, are they gonna rally the forces and rotate back to the side? They have no B main control, right? Durka did this last round, he's done it again. They realize that when they go B, they overcommit to this heaven push.
Overcommit, they will. Ooh. Teleport away.
I like this. We mentioned how they can't just get onto A, like outright. So they were trying, maybe I was hoping to see like a wrap in a CT or something, challenge Sainara, challenge Jampy. But even then, you haven't taken down the Sentinel on site.
Izzy's not gonna clear this. There it is, shot in the back.
And a cam stall.
But the thing is, everyone else is on the other side, and it's distracted them enough.
They got
the
caught.
Nightfall. That is an amazing tag on up.
What?
Showstopper's not gonna find anything. Chronicle, I mean, just
it's
gonna.
ball damage.
Why not? I guess throw that into the mix. That wasn't one on our bingo card, right? And now
Someone shows
Spike
up, yeah.
goes down 3 versus 4, and more questions than we have answers. Yampy not going to be given anything easily. Skyland, the huge one out here, finds 2, and that could be it. The Seeker invested as well. Anima, what a shot, and the last Seeker going to reveal Prophet shining in heaven. Now has to make a decision, gonna jump on down. This is all gonna be heard, trying to wrap around.
Grab Skyland, you have low HP.
Could very much do it. There's the shorty kill. And this isn't the right position for the plant, just gonna hold it. Anima needs to make the first move, spraying away. He's just gonna keep on holding it, and he's not even having a look. And look at that, just a second too late, and Prophet finds the kill for 4.
All of that work, that painstaking investment of the Showstopper, of the Seekers. And you still don't walk away with the round because Anima, you hoped he got off the spike from the pre-fire, the Sheriff, and Prophet was not having any of it, right? You're trying to bait a veteran, right? Or like it's not gonna work.
If you wanna go for the throne, you better not miss.
Oh my! And
And-
Skyland, why didn't you just wrap main? You heard the footsteps.
You
That's
heard
the round.
everything.
If Vitality win it, you look at it and say it should have been ours.
And that very much, imagine now Vitality makes this comeback.
That's what I was saying.
That
That's
could,
what I'm saying. Yeah.
That could be the linchpin, and Eternal Finance going to be kicking themselves. There's still time. They did such a good job on the first half. They bought themselves a buffer.
Exactly. That they didn't have in the previous map.
Exactly.
Now, they kind of changed the Cypher setup since now when he's on side, he's not invincible, we've learned, for Chronicle. And this time I've left Izzy solo here because he's not getting much headway B Heaven as well. So again, Eternal Fire, consistently innovating.
With Ultimates online and available, mostly for the info gathering, but they've been hesitant to want to invest them.
Haven't needed him. Now, finally we get some more proactive mid information instead of it being off a contact.
True.
That Prowler, huge for that. And look at
I
this.
think-
Durka did it again. He cleared out all of B main. And this time, honestly, I want to see one round where he goes all the way and wraps to Ramen.
I mean,
He did it on buy no more. Like, if you think about the fountain wrap.
ooh, and all that information is meaningless in the eyes of Izzy's op. Durka holding the angle
Ooh.
into the shadows.
Is he gonna stay?
I
He's
mean,
gonna stay.
he's gonna stay, and why wouldn't you? You've got an opportunity. Skyland with 1, make that 2, has done wonders. 2 versus 4. Health looking low for some of these players. Miraculous they're still alive, but that's not gonna deter the spike. Again, cutting it so close on the timer, but this time, success.
HP doesn't matter when you have an op in Izzy's hands. Durka. Tried to put a Sturban, but he doesn't overswing this. I like that as well. And again, Skyline wanting to take first contact if he can.
You got flank watch and nobody even coming. It's all attention available. Lovely screens on
paranoia.
out, isolate these two. And they know where Anima is around the screens. White swing on out, it's a huge one to find. And the re-peak, that's 11. Finally, they break the round curse.
And oh my gosh, Anima, that's what I'm saying. I'm sorry for the last round, guys. I got it now. When we talked about Easy, we talked about Skyline being such low HP. And honestly, this round, it's so hard to say, but that's the difference, right? Chronicle.
Exactly.
He had not moved like the previous 2-3 rounds from his anchor position. That round he finally moves and gets punished for it. And that's what opens up the site. That's what opens up the rotation. And I did like as well the extra layer that from the shadows from Anima, just to secure there wasn't an additional player. And that even forced Sayonara into that hero move to get out of sight. All in all, they have momentum. They're one off from that point, from grand finalist levels of achievement. And this is the first time I think we've seen such a B main direct exit, right? They've left it usually untouched.
It has been almost entirely untouched. And Izzy, again.
No way.
I'm so glad that didn't connect because that would have been criminal, but still finds the kill anyhow.
It was a little leg shot and the Headhunter finishes it up. That's your Rolling Thunder gone. If you die here, I was going to say Yampy, at least you still got the Converging Paths and the Neural Theft. We said it. It's Durka and Chronicle. When the system fails, they reboot it. And one is needed now in a 2v5, I would argue, to keep them off of map series point. But they've called for the long game instead. The save on the opposite side of the map. They will have to win 5 in a row to get to overtime.
I don't think so. We've seen a couple of round win streaks, but nothing mighty like this. And you just need something, right? This is a round where, yeah, I know you want to save, but just having a moment of individual
I think they should.
brilliance.
If these two players cannot be the ones to do it, who can?
Who can?
Like
Exactly.
in VCT, not just in the server. Like, it's difficult, but it's a call that they will have to review later if it doesn't work out. If they don't make that 5-round comeback, and they might not even get the save. Sturban, who was bottom mid, waiting for those rotates the entire time, has now gone on damage control. And you're saving a Guardian! I didn't even get to see that! It's not even a Vandal!
It's a Guardian and a
And
Bulldog.
a Bulldog! It's not even Vandals and Phantoms.
They're going to have to do something that we would never be able to break, something from out of this world
Their only
to
hope is
make
those
it
ults.
worth. Yeah.
That's their only hope here.
And yeah, they've got through it. I mean, it's not the worst crutch in the world, but again, that's one round, or 3 maybe if you drip feed them, right?
That's
and the
enough to
others
get
are
the
so far away.
confidence back. That's enough. But again, it's you are on a knife side. We talked about it coming into the map, and now it's literally in the map.
The buy's not good. The buy is catastrophic.
gosh.
Let's not beat around the bush here. And Eternal Fire,
They have their own ults.
they knew coming into this that they had what it took to beat the best of the best. And Izzy, this time, something in the back of his mind just says, no, you don't want to go for this.
Oh my gosh, are we gonna see Vitality fight for mid control for the first time and on that point? Oh no, not like this!
Izzy, one more time, one more round and one more opening kill. Sayonara can see this, can hear this. Has somebody nearby as Yampy if needed. And this judge, it's not exactly the hope inspirer you want.
Why is series point the first round you're fighting for mid control? Like, it's better late than never, I guess, but you've now lost the converging paths. That would have been a retake tool. Now that's weakened the Behold, and that's why the Seekers were ideally going to set up this take. Instead, that just flushes the Rolling Thunder out when there was one person, and it's Izzy, who can freaking rendezvous away.
And now, A side, that is where they're looking to close this map. Yampy finds one, but that is all they need to slip away.
They've declined the invite to fight.
They have declined the invite to fight, and why would you? Why would you give them that way back in? You've got that mid control. The Viper's Pit comes on out. Chronicle needs something, but there's nobody even remotely visible.
Look at the ramps wrap as well. I thought Spear was going to do it, but they're going to leave that to Izzy instead to have this main pressure, and Sturban swings down the pin and gets another.
And Yampy has been cleared on out, and there's more information coming on where the 3 remaining players are. Everything aligning now. Eternal Fire just need 3 more kills. Skylan getting proactive. Somebody's got ahead, but it doesn't matter that they're wrapping. Sayonara finds one, but Sturban ready and waiting. You don't want to let them get too close because it's time to bring this back. Viper's Pit goes down, and they're out in the open. But Spear with 2. Chronicle in the 1v1, no health, knows where Izzy is. And of course it's going to be Izzy, but doesn't quite find the pick. Chronicle the only person who's been able to counter Izzy, it would seem, has finally clutched them up, and that could have been it. That could have been the end of the journey.
And Izzy, 9 out of 10 times, after what I've seen, I'd say swing it. That is not one of the situations, right? He probably got the call. He's 30 HP, swing him. And instead, the clock, this is not salvaged in time. The round is not salvaged in time. And they thought that was the grand finale. They put everything they could into that. The same can be said for Vitality as well, minus that converging path since Durka was first blooded. But that round felt grand finale-esque. And for a Chronicle to come through when needed just sets us back on to another rerun, right? Like, it's 4 more rounds and they still have double guarding, they still have a rough fight. You gotta do it again!
The adrenaline, I can imagine, pumping. And now an A hit. Almost successful last time. They want to right the wrongs. There's another opening pick this time. Anima throwing their name into the hat, and Izzy's got one slowly but surely. This time, it's not a rush. This time, it's not a flood. This time, it is a careful dismantling.
This looks like Vitality's tired, right? We've never seen Sayonara make that mistake, get that deep into heaven and die. We've never seen them caught out in main either. And now we can see Durka get caught out in a similar fashion.
Potentially dancing with the angle. Oh, up in Izzy's face there. Both of them going to take this as a sign. But holding the line, Chronicle gets one, but the numbers are all but gone. They're running out of pieces on the board here. Converging pass is going to be good for Izzy, but the nade goes deep. Sturban's got one, and this is it. Durka needs something unholy. Durka's having a look, he's spraying. That spike's going to go down, and it's Sturban, the dealing blow there. Eternal Fire have done it. They have toppled Vitality. They have secured themselves a spot in the final, and they have fundamentally changed the game.
Wow. And if that was not a precursor for what